Chapter 1241. Bang! The blood-red dragon inscription barrier was shattered by Zhao Fu's sword strike, and Shyvana's body was sent flying. Zhao Fu took this opportunity to shoot out countless chains, trapping Shyvana in the air. Zhao Fu followed the instructions and straightened the chains and started to tear at Shyvana's body. Arg! Shyvana continuously screamed in pain and felt her body being torn apart bit by bit, and blood flowed out from her wounds. Whoosh! Shyvana's body was torn apart. Her arms, legs, head, and chest were all split apart, and countless pieces of her body rained down. Hope's beautiful and heroic head fell to the ground and rolled around like a ball. Zhao Fu frowned as he looked at her slowly disappearing body and continued onwards. Whoosh! Suddenly, a flywheel weapon containing immense power flew towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's expression remained calm as he slashed the flywheel out, and a person walked out. She had light red hair and white skin. She looked quite beautiful and had a voluptuous figure. She wore tight-fitting armor and gave off a powerful aura. She was the person who had just attacked Zhao Fu. War Goddess Sivir was a mercenary with a reputation for being heartless. With her unyielding courage and boundless ambition, she had obtained shocking fame and wealth. Sivir grabbed at the air, and the flywheel that Zhao Fu had sent flying flew back into her hand. She then threw it, and the flywheel spun as it gave off rays of cold light as it flew toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and countless traces of ghostly chi flowed out, forming a ghostly hand that grabbed the flywheel as he lightly shouted, "Ghost devour!" Countless ghosts suddenly rushed out from around Sivir and madly leapt at her. Sivir swung her fists, killing 10 or so ghosts, but she was still knocked to the ground. The ghosts opened their fanged mouths and started to tear at Sivir's flesh. Sivir continuously cried out in pain until she passed out, and it was as if her corpse had been completely devoured. Zhao Fu felt a little numb as he continued walking forward. A figure once again blocked Zhao Fu's path. She had a bewitching figure and wore tight black armor. She had short black hair, and her left bangs covered her eyes. Her appearance was exquisite, and there were 2 treasured swords at her waist. The peerless swordswoman Fiona was the youngest descendant of the Loron family and a very powerful swordswoman. Both sides glanced at each other. 10 minutes later, miserable screams sounded out. Sharp sword arcs cut off Fiona's flesh bit by bit. In the end, only a pair of blood-red bones were left. It was a very cruel and bloody scene. Fiona's corpse disappeared again. Zhao Fu sighed and looked ahead. He didn't know how long this road was. It seemed that he had already tortured and killed 5 women. If he continued like this, Zhao Fu would become a pervert. If it continued like this, he would have to give up on this historical remnant. Zhao Fu didn't want to continue like this. Even though Zhao Fu wasn't a good person, he didn't like to torture and kill people like this unless he had a deep hatred for them. However, these women didn't have any enmity with Zhao Fu. Perhaps sensing Zhao Fu's thoughts, a large door appeared in front of Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu curiously opened the door and found himself in a bedroom that was decorated quite cutely in pink. There was a seductive woman lying on the large bed in the middle. She wore a strapless miniskirt and had a sexy figure. Her skin was snow white, and she was incredibly beautiful. She had long black hair, a pair of ears, golden fox eyes, and 9 tails. She was the 9-tailed fox, little Tanuki, a fox that wandered the forests of southern Ionia and dreamed of becoming a human. System announcement: rape and kill the person in front of you, and you will pass the trial ahead of time. Looking at the beauty on the bed and the system announcement, Zhao Fu felt a headache. He had never done such a thing before, and it touched his bottom line. Zhao Fu didn't want to do such a thing. However, the system announcement showed that if he raped and killed the woman in front of him, he would pass the trial ahead of time. In other words, after killing her, everything would be over. Just as Zhao Fu was hesitating, little Tanuki walked down from the bed and came before Zhao Fu. She charmingly smiled and said, "It seems that you're not completely bad, but you won't be able to pass that perverted trial like this. However, That twisted pervert likes you so much and even broke the rules to give you a shortcut. As long as you do that to me, you'll definitely pass that perverted trial." After little Tanuki finished speaking, she seductively smiled and hugged Zhao Fu's neck. Her sexy red lips kissed Zhao Fu. "Come on, I won't blame you. You don't have to worry, I won't really die. As long as you can pass that perverted trial, we won't have to suffer like this. If you want, I'll serve you every day from now on." Zhao Fu was still hesitant. Although little Tanuki had said so, and she wouldn't really die, Zhao Fu still couldn't bear to do such a thing. "Good husband, hurry up." Little Tanuki continuously kissed and licked Zhao Fu, urging Zhao Fu to hurry up and do that thing, and then kill her. However, Zhao Fu was still hesitant and couldn't do it. At this moment, a sharp and distorted voice sounded. "Hurry up. As long as you do that, you'll be able to pass my trial. Then, you'll be my master, and you'll also obtain the sadistic killing inheritance. You'll be able to kill everyone, and you'll become a peerless expert." Hearing this voice, little Tanuki stopped and whispered in Zhao Fu's ear. "This is that pervert. It seems like it really likes you. Good husband, can you hurry up and kill me?" Zhao Fu thought for a moment, then gently pushed little Tanuki away and said flatly, "I want to withdraw from this trial. I don't want to continue." Hearing this, little Tanuki's face turned pale. If Zhao Fu didn't pass the trial, then they would be abused forever. "Master, I'm begging you." Tears fell from little Tanuki's eyes as she pitifully said. She had already called Zhao Fu master. Zhao Fu was still unmoved because hearing that perverted and distorted urgent voice, it meant that the anxious one wasn't Zhao Fu, but it. Zhao Fu didn't want to be so passive, so he wanted to take the initiative. "Sorry, I have to leave to look for other ruins," Zhao Fu said flatly and left. "Wait, don't go. Come here, you've passed the trial." Seeing that Zhao Fu was really going to leave, the distorted and sharp voice hurriedly shouted at Zhao Fu. Hearing this, Zhao Fu was speechless. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have gone through so much trouble. At the same time, he was curious about what he would obtain. What was this inheritance, and what was the thing that made the voice? Hearing this, little Tanuki couldn't help but cry and laugh because she was excited and happy. Chapter 1242. This blood-red sword was a two-handed sword that was around 1 meter long and 3 fingers wide. It only had a single edge, and it was like a sharp tooth. Slashing at one's body would be like being cut open by a sharp tooth, and it would be incredibly painful. There were pictures on the blade of the sword, all of which were pictures of corpses. The sword hilt seemed to be wrapped in human skin, and it was most likely an ordinary devil sword. There were 8 crystal coffins around the stone stage, and there were women lying within them. They were the women that Zhao Fu had seen before. Moon Goddess Diana, Winter Wrath Sidhwani, War Goddess Sivir. Apart from the 6 that he had seen, there were 2 that he had not seen before. One was wearing green tights and a green mask. She had jet black hair and a slim figure. Even though he could not see her appearance, he could tell that she was a very beautiful person. She was shown as Shadow Fisticali. The other was wearing explosive clothes, but she did not seem to be wearing any clothes. She used some plants to cover her body, and she had fiery red hair. She was quite beautiful and gave off a powerful aura. Her hands were plant-like claws. She was shown as Thorny Goddess Jilla. After Zhao Fu walked in, a figure happily leapt at Zhao Fu. It was a young girl with exquisite features and long, blood-red hair. Her eyes were also blood-red and filled with cruelty, and she was not wearing anything. "Master, you're my master. Hurry and take me so that I can slaughter the world with you." The young girl leapt at Zhao Fu's body as she happily and madly cried out. Zhao Fu looked at this young girl. She was most likely the sword spirit of the blood-red sword on the stone stage. Zhao Fu looked down at her and asked in confusion, "Why did you choose me?" The young girl happily cried out, "Because Master's bloodline is terrifying, and there are many terrifying and perverted things within your body. If I recognize you as my master, I'll definitely be able to slaughter countless people and make the world suffer. I've waited here for so long. and Master is the first person to make me so excited. I can finally leave with Master. Today, I'm happier than breaking my fingers or cutting my body." Hearing her words, Zhao Fu felt a chill in his heart. This young girl was definitely a perverted madwoman. No wonder Xiao Li had said such things before. Now, the question was, would Zhao Fu want such an evil and terrifying sword? The answer was yes. This sword was clearly not an ordinary sword, and it possessed immense power. How could such a treasure be left here and not be used? "Come down first. I'll go get the sword." When a young girl heard Zhao Fu's words, she let go of Zhao Fu and stood at the side, looking at Zhao Fu with a pair of blood-red eyes. Zhao Fu walked onto the stone platform and reached out to hold the hilt of his sword. Boom! An enormous evil, twisted, crazy, and perverted power flowed from Zhao Fu's arm into Zhao Fu's brain, causing Zhao Fu's mind to go blank. A blood-red pillar of light containing immense power shot into the sky, shaking the surroundings. The blood-red light covered the entire sky, and the evil, berserk, and perverse power flooded out. Not only did Chen Zheng and the others look at this scene in shock, but everyone on the 7th level felt their hairs stand on end. They could not help but turn to look at the blood-red pillar of light that had appeared between the heavens and the earth. What kind of power is this? Something must have happened to a peerless treasure. Thinking of this, countless people excitedly rushed in that direction. Right now, Zhao Fu's body felt like it was being cleansed by a massive power. It was a berserk and evil power. The perverse power started to corrode Zhao Fu's body and soul, wanting to make Zhao Fu become like the young girl. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed. Zhao Fu did not want to become such a person, so he exploded out with his full power, wanting to suppress the power that was corroding his body and soul. However, it was clear that Zhao Fu was no match for it, because this seemed to be the home field of the sword. There was an endless amount of power, and the power that Zhao Fu exploded out with was quickly drowned out. Some people outside the historical remnant had already arrived, and they looked at the scene in shock. They had sensed the ripples from here, but they did not know what was going on. Evelyn and the others stood guard at the entrance to prevent others from coming in and disturbing Zhao Fu. The others who had arrived looked at Evelyn and the others seriously and warily, not daring to act rashly. After all, they knew these people. They were the people beside the second-ranked genius. With the 12-inch sword mark's power on the stone steel, they would not be able to defend against it. The person who had caused such ripples was most likely that genius. Following this, more and more people gathered here, and there were now over 10,000 of them. They looked at the historical remnant with greed, fear, and shock. Facing these people, Evelyn could not help but feel nervous. With so many people rushing in, they would not be able to defend against them. As time gradually passed, more and more people gathered, and some people could not help but want to act. There was evidently a shocking treasure within the historical remnant. So how could they just stand by and watch? What is that person doing inside? Finally, some people could not help but start a probe. Because there were so many people, their fear towards that person decreased. Evelyn and the others ignored their questions. The crowd started to become restless, and someone yelled, "Get out of the way. Everyone should have a share of the treasure. If you don't get out of the way, we won't be polite anymore." These words immediately caused the atmosphere to become incredibly tense. Both sides drew their swords as if a massive battle would erupt in the next moment. However, it was evident that Evelyn's side was at a disadvantage. Within the historical remnant, Zhao Fu looked incredibly pained as that power tore at Zhao Fu's body and tore at Zhao Fu's soul. Zhao Fu could not help but release the Emperor Killing Sword World's power. The Emperor Killing Sword World's weather changed as clouds swirled and countless traces of killing sword energy gathered at a point. Shing! A shocking sword hum sounded out, tearing through the heavens and countless worlds. That massive killing sword energy flooded out like a heaven-toppling flood. At that moment, the ordinary-looking young man who had been leisurely walking around the 5th level sensed this power, and his body froze. His expression fell as he looked behind him. Everyone outside the historical remnant felt as if they had been inundated by a flood of killing, and they felt as if they were suffocating. Some people were so scared that they collapsed to the ground. The killing sword had the supreme, sovereign sword intent, and had an innate suppression towards that sword. Zhao Fu released the Emperor Killing Sword World's power and was finally able to suppress that sword's power. However, Zhao Fu did not like how crazy and twisted this sword was, so Zhao Fu sent his supreme sword intent into it, wanting to change some of its attributes and slightly weaken its power. Chapter 1243. In the end, the sword gained a trace of Killing Sword Intent's aura, and the twisted aura became slightly weaker. The young woman was also affected and became a bit more serious. Zhao Fu withdrew the Killing Sword power and pulled out the sword from the stone stage. He obtained countless pieces of information, but most of them were about killing people. This was most likely the so-called legacies, and Zhao Fu was not very interested in them. This sword was called the Sadistic Killing Sword, and it was a level 6 divine armament. Equipment that reached Earth divine armaments could be called divine armaments, and with such a high grade, it could be called intermediate divine armaments. Zhao Fu put it away in satisfaction, and the young woman with blood-red hair returned to the sword. Following this, Zhao Fu looked at the 8 crystal coffins around him. Zhao Fu casually waved his hand, and a wave of energy destroyed the restrictions around the crystal coffins. The 8 women slowly opened their eyes. Some of them looked quite confused while others coldly stared at Zhao Fu. Xiaoli opened her eyes and looked at Zhao Fu as she gave a flirtatious smile and bowed as she said, "Thank you, Master, for saving our lives." The others came back to their senses and called out to Zhao Fu, "Master!" Zhao Fu did not leave any restrictions within their bodies, but the sadistic killing sword controlled their souls. Since Zhao Fu held the sadistic killing sword, he was naturally their master. After nodding, Zhao Fu took his people and left the historical remnant. The ordinary-looking young man on the 5th level looked quite serious as he looked behind him, no longer as relaxed as before. He felt that the Cosmos historical remnant was starting to become interesting. It was not just the ordinary-looking young man. The white-haired young man by Shengjun and Zhang Mingyue also sensed that terrifying killing intent. Their expressions became quite serious, and they looked quite fearful towards this power. After coming outside, the wave of people who had wanted to enter the historical remnant was given a big fright by the Killing Sword Intent's power, and they looked at the historical remnant in fear. Seeing Zhao Fu come out, countless people immediately scattered, not daring to stay. Needless to say, Zhao Fu knew what was going on. Lefren looked at the women behind Zhao Fu and hugged Zhao Fu as she said in an alluring voice, "Master, you're quite popular with women. I've subdued another 8 sisters. Can I have a big fight later?" Evelyn crossed her arms and snorted, "Master, you're having fun inside, but we're fighting the enemies outside. You have to supplement me later." Xiaoli also threw herself into Zhao Fu's embrace. Her whole body carried a seductive charm. Her pair of big eyes looked at Zhao Fu and said, "Xiaoli will properly serve Master." Zhao Fu said helplessly, "Let's continue looking at the ruins first." Hearing Zhao Fu's words, all of the women felt quite disappointed, and Evelyn seemed quite displeased. Some of Shavana's group of 7 blushed, while others looked quite calm. A few days later, they did not find any ruins. They killed a rock spirit and obtained a checkpoint medallion, and they headed to the 6th level. The 6th level was a boundless snowy plain, and there were no signs of life at all. The cold aura that it gave off was enough to freeze Stage 5 or Stage 6 people. This was not a place that ordinary people could come to. Just like before, they headed to the danger zone. They obtained points by subduing beasts. A few hours later, Zhao Fu and his group encountered a large group of pigeon-like cosmos beasts that leapt at Zhao Fu's group. The 6th level's cosmos beasts were mainly birds. If they flew in the sky, they would easily encounter large groups of cosmos beasts. However, now that they had many helpers, things were much easier to deal with. Zhao Fu paid attention to their performance. Chun Jinghe, was using a bow and arrow, and he shot down Cosmos beasts one after another. Diana's ferocious expression didn't change, and the crescent blades in her hands gave off crescent-shaped arcs of light as they killed Cosmos beasts one by one. Winter's Fury Sejuani rode on a wild boar and swung her meteor hammer as she charged through the sky. Dragon Blood warrior Shyvana punched out with her fiery orbs, while war goddess Sivir continuously threw her flying wheels. Fiona, the unparalleled swordswoman, wielded her sword with both hands and unleashed a magnificent sword art, bringing forth countless sword lights. Shally, the nine-tailed fox, threw out blue fireballs. Shadow, Fist, a collie, swung the dagger in her hand, shooting out rays of green light. Thorn Happiness, Ella shot out wooden spikes, killing nether beasts. Zhao Fu wanted to test out the sadistic killing sword's power, so he casually slashed out a blood-red sword light. This blood-red sword light hit a few Cosmos beasts, instantly shredding them to pieces. This was not what Zhao Fu wanted, but it was the sadistic killing sword's effect. This sword was even more evil and perverse than all of Zhao Fu's previous swords, but it was still acceptable to use against enemies. After killing this group of Cosmos beasts, they came to the 6th level's danger zone. However, Zhao Fu was disappointed. The 6th level's danger zone was covered with corpses and had been conquered by someone else. Looking at the wounds on the corpses, it was most likely done by a single person. This disrupted Zhao Fu's plans. Zhao Fu had wanted to conquer the danger zones one by one, subdue the beasts, and bring them back to Qin City. Now that the danger zones had been conquered by someone else, Zhao Fu could only look at the other historical remnants. A few days later, Zhao Fu had explored a few more historical remnants, but had not obtained much. He felt quite disappointed and decided to head to the 5th level. The checkpoint medallion for the 6th level was on a tall, snowy mountain. As long as one could withstand the coldness and the blade-like wind and climb up the snowy mountain, they would be able to obtain it. This was not difficult for Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's defenses were now incredibly firm, and he had the Emperor's Domain, the Saint Realm Domain, and the 6 Paths defensive barrier. A door of light appeared, and everyone entered it, arriving at the 5th level. The 5th level was different from the previous levels. It was a large stretch of ruins with dilapidated walls and weeds. This had been where countless people had lived before, but now there were only empty houses. The 5th level's Cosmos beasts were humanoid and had terrifying strength. All of them had almost reached Stage 9, and if a large number of Stage 9 experts attacked, even with Zhao Fu's strength, he would have to run. The 5th level was the last level that Ling Feishua had reached, and because it was incredibly dangerous, she had not given much information. However, she had told Zhao Fu where the danger zone was. Following this, everyone headed towards the danger zone. In the 5th level's danger zone, there was a tall and majestic palace called the Nine Kings Spirit Palace. It was where the king had lived, and there were countless vengeful spirit guards. They were incredibly powerful, and some had even broken through to the Saint Realm. However, after Zhao Fu and the others arrived, the Nine Kings Spirit Palace was already quite empty. Apart from a few vengeful spirits jumping out, there were no large groups of vengeful spirits. Chapter 1244. In the end, Zhao Fu and the others came to the depths of the ruins. There were traces of a huge battle here, and there were still some pieces of corpses. It seemed that the beasts here had been killed, and the ruins had naturally been conquered. Zhao Fu sighed. He did not know who had done this, but he was sure that it was someone who had advanced in the rankings. Otherwise, it was impossible for a single person to do such a thing. Now, he could only look at the other ruins to see if he could gain anything. The 5th floor was another stage. The 10th, 9th, and 8th floors were the first stage, and the 7th, 6th, and 5th floors were the second stage. The danger of each stage increased exponentially. When the 8th floor wanted to enter the 7th floor, the stone monument stopped many people with low strength. The 5th level was the second stage, and if one wanted to go further and reach the 4th level, it would be quite difficult here. If one wanted to pass the 4th level, one had to pass the gatekeeper's test. next to a red mahogany door that was thousands of meters tall and had golden flowers and birds drawn on it. There were thousands of armored gatekeepers. They had solemn expressions and gave off powerful auras as they stood there, not allowing anyone to come close. Anyone who came close would be attacked. The gatekeeper's power was naturally quite terrifying, and that was why Ling Feishue had stayed where she was back then. Moreover, she could not bring followers to this stage. Whoever passed the gatekeeper's test would be able to pass, and she could not bring a group of people. There were countless people here, and sensing the gatekeeper's power, no one dared to challenge them. A while later, a big man who was ranked 180th could not help but walk out and loudly say, "I want to go to the 4th level." One of the gatekeepers coldly looked at the big man and said in a thunderous voice, "If you can withstand 3 attacks from this general, you can enter the 4th level." The big man deeply breathed in and went on guard as he nodded at the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper held a spear, and seeing that the big man was ready, he lightly swung the spear. Whoosh! As Zhao Fu swung the spear, a powerful gale gave off an aura that seemed to be able to destroy everything as it rushed towards the big man. Countless rocks and sand were sent flying into the sky. The big man's expression fell, and he exploded out with terrifying power. His body gave off a blue light as a mite covered the surroundings. Facing the incoming gale, the big man chose to face it head-on, and he roared as he slammed into the gale. Bang! A loud sound rang out as the strong man smashed into the gale, causing it to scatter in all directions. They turned into a few gusts of wind and blew in all directions. A trace of a smile appeared on the big man's face, but the wild gale's true power was unleashed. It swept towards the big man, causing his body to give off an even more intense light, but he was still blown back like a stone being blown away by a gale. The brawny man was blown thousands of meters away and smashed into a house. He didn't get up for a long time, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. The surrounding people couldn't help but be shocked. This guard was too terrifying. With just a light shot, more than 100 people were swept away. How could they have the opportunity to enter the 4th floor? Everyone looked quite dispirited. Now that they had witnessed the terrifying power of the guards, they had lost the courage to challenge them, and they decided to stay on the 5th level. "I want a challenge." A very fat youth jumped onto the platform and shouted at the guard. The guard's expression was ice cold. He said the same thing as before. "If you can withstand 3 moves from me, you can enter the 4th floor." Whoosh! The guard once again attacked, and he swung his spear, causing a wild gale to blow towards the fat youth. The fat youth took out a 3-meter-tall shield and used it to block in front of him. The wild gale gave off ferocious power, but the shield gave off a semicircular barrier that blocked the wild gale. Everyone felt quite surprised, but they soon realized the reason. That shield was definitely a treasure, and the fat youth had relied on it to block the wild gale. At that moment, everyone felt a bit of hope. "Where is it?" The guard only said that we have to withstand 3 moves from him and didn't say that we have to rely on our own strength. If we rely on some treasures or tricks, we might be able to pass. Whoosh! The guard once again attacked, which was his second attack, and he vigorously swung his spear. This time, he was evidently stronger than before, and the wild gale was even more berserk. Under the wild gale, the ground started to crack. The fat youth held the shield with all of his strength and sent his power into it. The semicircular barrier that the shield gave off started to be covered with bronze inscriptions, and his defense once again increased. Whoosh! The wild gale furiously roared as it rushed towards the fat youth. The wild gale lifted up the ground, and countless rocks and houses were blown into the sky. The semicircular barrier violently trembled, but in the end, it was still able to block this attack. This was the second attack. Could it be that the fat youth would be able to block the third attack and enter the 4th floor? Bang! The guard once again attacked. This time, he raised his spear and ferociously stabbed at the fat youth, and a massive wave of energy smashed towards the fat youth like a mountain. The shield's barrier shattered, and the fat youth was sent flying back and fell to the ground, unable to get up. Everyone felt quite disappointed. In the end, the fat youth had still failed. However, this gave everyone a lot of confidence. They all went up to challenge, and even though many of them failed, there were still a few who succeeded. Bihauran also started a challenge. He unleashed his 5 elements domain, and the 5-colored energy barrier expanded to 10 meters wide. The spirit chi in the surroundings quickly gathered, and the 5 elements domain was like a vortex that absorbed countless traces of spirit chi. Whoosh! The guard once again used the same attack. He swung his spear, bringing with it a berserk gale as he rushed towards Bihauran. The 5 elements domain did not budge at all, and it successfully blocked the guard's first attack. The second attack arrived, and an even more ferocious wind rushed towards Bihauran. The 5 elements domain slightly trembled, but it was still able to block the attack. Bang! The guard stabbed out with his spear, unleashing his third attack. A massive piercing power stabbed towards Bihauran, and Bihauran's gaze became serious. The 5 elements domain absorbed a large amount of spirit chi, and it gave off an even more intense 5-colored light. In the end, the 5 elements domain shattered, and Bihauran successfully blocked the attack. Countless people could not help but cry out, and the Tao cultivation sect's people also excitedly cheered. Facing the guard's 3 attacks, even some geniuses would not be able to block them. Only true experts could do so. Bihauran's strength proved that he was a true expert, and he was worshipped by everyone. At the same time, this also increased the Tao cultivation sect's reputation, causing the Tao cultivation sect's disciples to feel a sense of pride. Now that Bihauran had passed the trial, everyone could not help but discuss him, and Bihauran's fame greatly increased. Chapter 1245. At that moment, a powerful aura spread out like a ferocious flood. Everyone present felt this aura and fell silent. They turned to look in a certain direction and saw a young man wearing white clothes and a white dragon mask appear. His appearance caused everyone to feel quite nervous, and Bihauran and Shurshud's expressions were quite serious because this masked young man's aura was simply too terrifying. He's Yi, ranked 6th and the number 1 expert in the White Dragon domain. Someone discovered his identity based on the aura he gave off and called out. Hearing this, everyone felt quite shocked. The White Dragon domain was incredibly powerful, and out of the 10 or so domains, it was at least in the top 3. As the number 1 expert in the White Dragon domain, Yu Ye's power was quite terrifying. Moreover, his status was higher than most people's because he had taken over the White Dragon Kingdom and become a true king. Yu Yi stepped onto the stage, and everyone watched with wide eyes. Whoosh! The gatekeeper was still the same as before, and he swung his spear, bringing with him an intense gale as he attacked Yu Yi. Shing! The instant the berserk gale arrived, a white dragon sword appeared in Yu Ye's hand. Yu Yi gripped the sword and slashed out, causing a sword hum to sound out as a massive sword wind, giving off an incredibly sharp aura slammed against the gale. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the 2 winds collided, turning into a wild gale that blasted out, making it difficult for everyone to stand steadily. So powerful, everyone could not help but cry out. This was the first time someone had not been at a disadvantage against the gatekeeper. Yu Yi was definitely the first, and even Shurshud had not been able to do this before. Someone said, if it wasn't for those 5 monsters, Yu Yi would definitely be the number 1 expert, and it would be very difficult for anyone here to be a match for him. Someone else agreed. That's right. It's the first time I've seen such a powerful person. Bang! Another massive sound rang out as Yu Yi once again swung his sword, blocking the gatekeeper's attack. A trace of seriousness appeared in the gatekeeper's eyes as he raised his spear and stabbed at Yu Yi. The air exploded as a massive piercing power shot out, seeming to be able to pierce through a mountain. Yu Yi's expression did not change, and his white dragon sword gave off an intense sword light as he also stabbed at the gatekeeper, causing a dragon-shaped sword light to shoot out. Bang! Another explosion sounded out as the 2 attacks collided. A blinding light spread out and a shockwave spread out, causing the ground to crack and countless houses to collapse. Countless rocks and sand were sent flying. After everything settled, the gatekeeper looked at Yu Yi with a trace of approval and said, "You're not bad. You passed my test and may enter the 4th level." Boom! Just as the gatekeeper spoke, a massive emperor's aura instantly covered the surroundings. Countless people's bodies sank, and they felt as if their souls had fallen into an abyss. Countless people looked up into the sky and saw an arrogant and domineering young man appear with a few noble women in his arms. Sensing the young man's aura, the gatekeeper's tone became more courteous as he said, "Emperor's son, according to the rules, you can directly enter the 4th floor. You don't need to pass my test." Hearing the gatekeeper's tone, everyone looked incredibly shocked. They understood that the young man in front of them was a true emperor, which was why he had such a powerful emperor's aura. At the same time, someone called out his name based on his aura. "He's Zhang Mingyue, ranked 3rd. Everyone once again cried out in shock. He was Zhang Mingyue? So he was an imperial prince and a monster in the top 5. Only then would he have such terrifying power. Also, the gatekeeper's attitude is too bad. He's so cold to these people, but so polite to an imperial prince. He doesn't even need to pass the trial and can enter the 4th level. He's clearly looking down on these people. How infuriating. It was a pity that they did not have a sovereign bloodline, or else these gatekeepers would also be polite to them." Facing everyone's shocked, envious, respectful, and worshipful gazes, Zhang Mingyue gave a proud and confident smile. After conquering 2 danger zones, his ranking had returned to 3rd place. He had the confidence to surpass the first 2. This caused his anger to disappear, and he felt incredibly happy. Normally, he would not bother with these commoners, but he was in a good mood today, so he said, "That's right, I'm an imperial prince. I come from the Heaven Domain's Zhang Empire, and I'm the 6th imperial prince of the Zhang Empire." Hearing his words, everyone was sent into an uproar. Shuj and Baihaoran looked at Zhang Mingyue in shock. Everyone now understood that the person in front of them was a true imperial prince from the Heaven Domain. This was a terrifying figure, and some people would never be able to see him in their entire lives. Those who thought that they had high statuses would feel inferior in front of him. They were princes and princesses of kingdoms, while this person was an imperial prince of an empire. The difference in their statuses was massive, and they could not be compared at all. Royal bloodlines were top tier in the outer domains and were looked up to by countless people. However, in the Heaven Domain, the imperial bloodline was the main character and was worshipped by everyone. This was because their bloodlines meant that they were innately powerful. Facing everyone's gazes, Zhang Mingyue's smile became even brighter, and there was a trace of pride in his expression. This was the feeling he wanted. Being looked up to by countless people was the treatment he deserved as an imperial prince, not being stepped on by the 4 people in front of him. He quite enjoyed this feeling, so his emperor's aura spread out even more intensely, showing everyone his power as an imperial prince. "Imperial prince, we're willing to serve you as your women. Please take us in." 10 or so beauties flew into the sky and said to Zhang Mingyue in anticipation, "Imperial prince, we're willing to follow you and pledge our loyalty to you." Many more people flew into the sky and expressed their loyalty to Zhang Mingyue. After all, Zhang Mingyue was a true imperial prince, and serving him would give them unimaginable opportunities. Zhang Mingyue looked at these people and of course did not think much of them. However, he noticed that Shuj and Ruoshi were already the number 1 beauties of the other domains. Zhang Mingyue gave a domineering smile as he pointed at Shuj and the other women and said, "Come and serve this imperial prince. If you perform well, this imperial prince can make you concubines and give you unimaginable benefits. Your factions will also be protected by this imperial prince in the future. This is your glory." Boom! Suddenly, an even more terrifying emperor's aura flooded out, causing countless people's bodies to feel a chill and instinctively feel terror. A group of people arrived, and, sensing that person's aura, the gatekeeper looked incredibly shocked. He respectfully bowed to that person and called out, "We greet Imperial Prince." The gatekeeper's attitude was completely different, but everyone was completely shocked. This aura completely overwhelmed Zhang Mingyue's aura, causing Zhang Mingyue's expression to become incredibly unsightly. Chapter 1246. Facing everyone's gazes, Zhao Fu was quite calm as he said, "I want to enter the 4th level." The gatekeeper nodded and said, "Yes." He then turned and pushed open the red doors. This attitude was completely different from before, making countless people feel furious. Zhao Fu prepared to enter. Zhang Mingyue coldly harumphed and said domineeringly in a loud voice, "Who are you? Which empire's imperial prince? Just based on your fate, this imperial prince can tell that you're a fake. Don't think that you can compare to me. I'm the Zhang Empire's 6th imperial prince. Why aren't you bowing and telling me how you obtained the sovereign bloodline? This imperial prince will forgive you." Knowing that Zhao Fu was the person who had trampled on him and made things difficult for him, Zhang Mingyue definitely would not be nice to Zhao Fu and treated Zhao Fu as an enemy. When he could not sense that Zhao Fu had an empire's fate, he felt completely at ease. His voice contained a trace of mockery. He truly looked down on this fake. Zhao Fu frowned, but ignored Zhang Mingyue and continued onwards. Seeing that Zhao Fu was ignoring him, Zhang Mingyue felt quite furious. A fake dared to treat him like this. He was simply seeking death. Zhang Mingyue stretched out his hand, and a massive, formless hand grabbed toward Zhao Fu, seeming to want to crush Zhao Fu. Bang! Zhao Fu slashed out with his finger, sending out a black crescent that destroyed the formless hand, causing it to dissipate into countless streams of air. Zhao Fu turned and looked at Zhang Mingyue. Zhang Mingyue yelled, "Didn't you hear what this imperial prince said before? Master." Seeing Zhang Mingyue act so arrogantly, Mozax called out to Zhao Fu, wanting to help him kill him. Zhao Fu's expression was slightly cold as he said, "All of you can leave. None of you can resist his power." Hearing this, Mozax and the others could only retreat to the side. Zhao Fu then looked at Zhang Mingyue and said mockingly, "I only heard a dog barking. I only heard a dog barking." These words caused everyone present to gulp. This was the first time someone had dared to insult an imperial prince like this. This could lead to the danger of their entire clan being wiped out. However, that person's identity was clearly not simple, and he had some sort of backing, which was why he dared to speak like this. Sure, Shuj and the other women had been quite angry at Zhang Mingyue for ordering them to serve him, but they were also quite wary of the empire and didn't know what to do. At that moment, Zhao Fu had appeared and saved them. Because of this, they felt a trace of gratitude toward Zhao Fu, so their gazes were all on Zhao Fu. However, when Zhao Fu said those words, everyone understood that a battle between the two imperial princes was unavoidable. "You dare to talk to me like that? Today, I will destroy your soul and let you witness the true power of a prince." Zhang Mingyue furiously roared before exploding out with his power. Boom! A massive explosion sounded throughout the sky as a violet aura spread out from Zhang Mingyue's body. A might descended like a massive hand, and everyone felt their bodies sink. The space around them started to tremble as 9 violet dragons appeared around Zhang Mingyue. The people in the surroundings continuously retreated in terror because this might was simply too powerful and was gradually increasing. If they continued to stay here, they would definitely die. At that moment, the space around them seemed to freeze, and everyone felt that it was difficult to breathe. Zhang Mingyue stood there like an emperor of the 9 heavens, with the heavens and earth submitting and all creatures worshipping him. In front of him, everything in the world seemed incredibly small and insignificant. Sensing everyone's terrified gazes, Zhang Mingyue gave a trace of smile as he drew a saber and pointed it at Zhao Fu as he said, "Today, you've seen a true imperial prince's power. Your death will be worth it." After saying this, Zhang Mingyue rushed forwards. Zhao Fu did not move at all and exploded out with his emperor's power. Perhaps it was because he felt that he was about to fight a true imperial prince, but Zhao Fu's bloodline became incredibly excited, and blood continuously flowed through Zhao Fu's body. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a black aura exploded out, giving off an unstoppable aura. The sky seemed to sink as an aura of a sovereign descended upon the heavens, and earth swept out. Everyone could only retreat in fear, because under this power, their bodies were instinctively trembling, and even their souls were crying out in grief. Similarly, 9 savage-looking black dragons, giving off terrifying power, appeared around Zhao Fu's body. The might continuously rose, causing space to twist. Time seemed to pass in an instant. Zhang Mingwei raised his saber and slashed at Zhao Fu. The saber light seemed to be able to tear apart the heavens and earth, and nothing could stop this saber strike. At that moment, Zhao Fu exploded out with Emperor's power and slashed out with the sadistic killing sword. Bang! The two attacks collided, resulting in a massive explosion. The skies seemed to explode, and a corporeal shockwave blasted out. The clouds in the sky were obliterated, and the ground caved in as countless people were swept away. Countless people retreated in terror, not daring to stay here for even a single step. The battle between these two emperors was unimaginably terrifying. The gatekeepers of the Mahogany Gate wore solemn expressions as they unleashed a barrier to protect the Mahogany Gate from being affected. Clang! Clang! After that massive explosion, the sky continuously exploded as the sound of metal clashing tore through the air. The two weapons clashed, resulting in ferocious gales, causing the heavens and earth to dim. At this moment, everyone was standing in the distance and looking at the two people fighting in the air with looks of shock on their faces. Was this a battle between imperial princes? As expected from a battle between the top 5 geniuses, the terrifying power here caused even the 6th-ranked Yu Ye's expression to dim. However, they did not know that the true battle had only just begun. 6 spirits slash. Zhang Mingwei looked furious as he slashed out 6 times with his saber, sending out 6 sharp violet crescents that slashed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu blocked with his sword and spread out his emperor's domain. The 9 black dragons around him sent massive amounts of power into the emperor's domain, causing even more dragon inscriptions to appear. Bang! 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 The 6 terrifying violet crescents gave off incredibly sharp power and simultaneously slashed against Zhao Fu's emperor's domain, resulting in massive explosions. Zhao Fu blocked Zhang Mingyue's attack, but he was forced back a few steps. R! Zhang Mingwei roared as he raised his saber. Countless saber lights shot out, causing the air to become incredibly sharp, and Zhang Mingwei once again rushed at Zhao Fu. 72 blood-red orbs flew out and floated in the air. In the next moment, they formed 72 spears that pointed towards Zhang Mingwei. They gave off a piercing aura, causing people's hairs to stand on end and feel incredibly shocked. Swish, swish, swish. Chapter 1247. Sin Dragon. Facing the 72 spears, Zhang Mingyue's momentum did not change. He roared, and the purple dragon around him entered his saber. Zhang Mingyue slashed out, causing the air to explode as a savage purple dragon rushed toward Zhao Fu. Bang! 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 The spears stabbed into the purple dragon's body, opening up holes. But the purple dragon still gave off a ferocious aura as it charged at Zhao Fu. It opened its mouth toward Zhao Fu, wanting to devour Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's gaze was cold as he raised the sadistic killing sword. Countless traces of blood-red light came out, and Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out an enormous blood-red light. Roar! A pain dragon's roar sounded out as the massive blood-red light flashed out, splitting the purple dragon into countless pieces from head to tail. This was the sadistic killing sword's sadistic killing effect. At the same time, Zhao Fu looked at Zhang Mingwei, and the 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun. Eerie, ghostly chi flowed out as 3 100-meter-tall ghosts suddenly appeared around Zhang Mingwei. They raised their fists and gave off immense power as they punched toward Zhang Mingwei. Zhang Mingwei disdainfully, coldly laughed. Mere ghosts dare to attack this imperial prince. Sovereign bloodline. Zhang Mingyue roared as his eyes became violet, and his hair seemed to be dyed violet as a violet wave of light spread out. Before the three ghosts could even attack Zhang Mingyue, they were swept away by the violet wave of light and turned into ghostly qi. Xing. The sound of metal clashing could be heard as Zhao Fu disappeared and appeared above Zhang Mingyue. His sword gave off ferocious sword energy as it slashed towards Zhang Mingyue. At that moment, Zhang Mingyue swung his saber to block Zhao Fu. Zhang Mingyue looked at Zhao Fu with a trace of condescension as he said, "With your strength, you won't be able to defeat this imperial prince. You don't know the power of a true imperial prince." Zhao Fu looked at Zhang Mingyue and coldly laughed as he asked, "Is that so?" Boom! Zhao Fu's blood roiled as his sovereign bloodline's power spread out. A black aura flame appeared around his body as a powerful gale spread out. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu used the explosive power to send Zhang Mingyue flying. Zhang Mingyue's face was filled with fury as he roared, 10,000 spirit slash. Clang, clang, clang. Rays of saber light appeared in the sky, and there were over 10,000 of them. They gave off a massive saber chi that shook the surroundings, and even the people far away felt a sense of danger from the sharp saber chi. In the next moment, tens of thousands of saber lights crashed down on Zhao Fu like a tsunami. Zhao Fu defended with all his might, and he kept swinging his blood sword, slashing out blood-colored arcs of light that shattered the incoming blade lights. However, the force of the 10,000 strands of saber chi was simply too strong. Xiao Chan was still knocked back, and his defensive barrier shattered. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. Boom! Zhang Mingyue took this opportunity to once again rush at Zhao Fu, his saber giving off a large amount of violet light. This caused the sky to rumble. A trace of fury appeared within Zhao Fu's heart, and he raised the sadistic killing sword. A blood-red light rushed into the sky, forming an enormous blood-red sun, and a perverted and berserk killing intent covered the surroundings. Xing! Zhao Fu's sword descended, and an enormous blood-red sword light that seemed to be able to slash apart 10,000 mountains slashed towards Zhang Mingyue. At that moment, Zhang Mingyue roared as the saber in his hand gave off an even more intense light. He vigorously slashed out, and a massive violet light ferociously slashed out. Bang! Another massive explosion sounded out as the sword light and saber light collided. In the end, the sword light shattered the saber light, and Zhang Mingyue's body was sent flying hundreds of meters. A gash appeared on his chest, and blood dyed his clothes red. However, the wound was not deep. The intense pain caused Zhang Mingyue's expression to become savage, and he roared at Zhao Fu, "You deserve to die 10,000 times." Boom! Zhang Mingyue roared as a massive wave of violet qi rushed into the sky. Heaven and earth spirit qi quickly gathered, and the sky darkened. Dark clouds covered the sky, and a massive might descended from the dark clouds. Xing! A saber hum sounded out as boundless saber qi tore apart the dark clouds. The ferocious saber qi poured down like water from the heavens. Countless people looked terrified, and they felt as if their bodies were going to be cut apart by the saber qi. A 10,000-meter tall saber image giving off boundless saber qi appeared in the sky, giving off a heaven-shaking aura. Zhao Fu sensed how terrifying this attack was, so he switched out the death ray sword and pointed it at the sky. A gray pillar of light shot into the sky, and heaven and earth spirit qi madly gathered. A beautiful figure wearing a palace dress appeared within the gray light, looking like a god of death. The surroundings became incredibly cold and gray, deathly aura spread out, and countless people felt a deathly power. Boom! Zhang Mingyue controlled the 10,000-meter-long saber, and it gave off boundless saber qi as it ferociously slashed toward Zhao Fu. Xing! Zhao Fu also slashed down with the death ray sword, and the death godlike figure gave off a world-shaking deathly aura as it rushed towards Zhang Mingyue. Bang! A shocking explosion sounded out as the two destructive powers collided. The powers seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and earth, and a blinding light caused the heavens and earth to turn into white light. The destructive shock wave instantly spread out tens of thousands of meters. The heavens and earth trembled as thin cracks appeared in the air. The ground collapsed, and rocks turned into dust. After everything settled, a 10,000-meter-wide crater appeared in the ground, and traces of destructive aura floated out, causing people to tremble as if they had fallen into icy water. Zhao Fu and Zhang Mingyue both retreated hundreds of steps, and there was a trace of blood at their lips. Both of them were most likely injured. Seeing the destruction caused by the two of them, the people in the surroundings uncontrollably trembled. Was this still a battle between humans? This was on a world-destroying level, and they were on a completely different level. Even though Shi Shuj, Netherspring, Ming Jian, and the others recognized Zhao Fu, they had never seen Zhao Fu's power before. Only now did they understand how terrifying his power was. The gatekeepers next to the red wooden doors looked incredibly shocked. If it wasn't for the fact that they were maintaining the barrier, this place might have been destroyed. One of the gatekeepers could not help but ask, "Are we just going to let them fight like this and not interfere?" The gatekeeper in charge of the trial nodded and said, "That's the rule. Let the two of them fight. It's a rare sight to see two princes fighting against each other." Bang! A massive sound rang out as Zhang Mingyue was slashed down by Zhao Fu's sword and heavily smashed into the ground, opening up a large crater. Zhang Mingyue coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood and crawled up from the ground, looking quite wretched. Chapter 1248. Zhang Mingyue got up from the ground and looked at Zhao Fu savagely as he said, "Today, this imperial prince will definitely kill a trash like you. I'll show you the true power of the Zhang Empire's imperial prince." Boom! Zhang Mingyue vigorously pressed against the ground, and an extremely terrifying power exploded out. A shocking explosion sounded out as if the heavens and earth were collapsing. Countless traces of violet light shot out from the cracks as a 10,000-meter-tall figure appeared in the sky. This figure was blurry and wore a violet dragon robe. It was most likely a man, but his body gave off a boundless ancient emperor's aura. Under this aura, the air seemed to stop flowing and time seemed to stop. All creatures in the 5th level sensed this terrifying emperor's aura, and the entire world seemed to be immersed in this emperor's aura. Countless people could not move at all, and their bodies and souls were being cleansed by this emperor's aura. They were like ants and could not resist at all, and they could only feel despair. This was the Zhang Empire's founding emperor, and it was a special secret technique of the Zhang Empire that could summon a dead emperor. An emperor who had founded an empire was naturally incredibly powerful, but looking at that blurry figure, Zhang Mingyue evidently had not used his full power yet. After the emperor's image appeared, it turned into a ray of light and entered Zhang Mingyue's body. Zhang Mingyue's power rose to the extreme, and even space could not withstand it and started to twist. Zhang Mingyue looked at Zhao Fu, and his eyes gave off a violet light. His body instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of Zhao Fu, slashing toward Zhao Fu. At that moment, Zhao Fu also exploded out with the 6 Paths Demon Image's power. Massive amounts of eerie, ghostly chi erupted out like a volcano, and the sky was covered by a layer of dark clouds. Countless ghosts excitedly howled, and the entire world was filled with an eerie aura. This feeling caused countless people's hairs to stand on end and their bodies to feel icy cold. They felt as if they had come to a ghost realm. Boom! Another shocking explosion sounded out as Zhang Mingyue, who had received his ancestors' power, slashed out with terrifying power towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu also exploded out with the 6 Paths Demon Image's power, and his sword gave off ferocious ghostly energy as it slashed towards Zhang Mingyue. A terrifying shockwave spread out like a wild gale, causing the people standing far away to lose their footing and retreat. Bang, bang, bang. The battle between the two people in the sky once again caused the sky to explode, and terrifying auras continuously spread out. Saber chi and sword light wreaked havoc, and this destructive power seemed to be covered by a layer of haze. Many people still did not know what was going on. They wanted to try and see if they could enter the fourth level. However, looking at the layer of haze in front of them that was constantly spreading and accompanied by rumbling sounds, as well as the terrifying aura that was surging over, they couldn't help but stop in their tracks, thinking that something big must have happened. Seeing the people running back from that direction, they couldn't help but ask, what happened in front? Why would it cause such a terrifying phenomenon? That person replied with a look of terror, "There's a battle between two emperors ahead. I'd advise you not to go over. It's too terrifying, and many people have died because of the shock waves. I should leave as soon as possible to avoid being caught up in the shock waves." A battle between two emperors? This caused everyone to feel quite shocked. This was something they had never seen before. Some people wanted to go and see just how terrifying the battle between two emperors would be. Sensing that terrifying aura, some people decided not to go. Their own lives were more important. Evil hand devour. Zhang Mingwei roared as he stretched out a hand and stabbed it into the air. Countless long arms made of black aura containing ferocious power shot out from the air and grabbed toward Zhao Fu. There were over 10,000 of them, making everyone feel quite shocked. Zhao Fu's left pupil continuously spun, and chains containing immense power shot out, colliding with the countless black arms. Zhao Fu had many chains and quickly suppressed Zhang Mingyue's evil hands. Ghost Devour. At the same time, Zhao Fu lightly cried out as the 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun. Now that Zhao Fu used the 6 paths of reincarnation power, all of his ghost-type skills were greatly boosted. Arg. Countless malicious ghosts howled and surged out from the surrounding void, surging towards Zhang Mingyue like a flood. It was as if they wanted to devour him. Zhang Mingyue coldly harumphed, and the saber in his hand gave off countless saber lights that shot out like wild gales, killing the incoming ghosts. Xing! In the next second, Zhao Fu appeared in front of him and slashed out, sending out a crescent that sent Zhang Mingyue flying. After flying back, Zhang Mingyue once again stretched out his hand toward Zhao Fu. A black hole appeared behind Zhao Fu's body, and a massive suction force sucked Zhao Fu in. Zhao Fu unleashed his Emperor's domain to block that terrifying suction force before slashing out with his sword, shattering the black hole and causing the massive suction force to disappear. At that moment, the gray dots in Zhao Fu's right eye once again spun, and 3 100-meter-tall ghosts suddenly appeared next to Zhang Mingyue. Following this, Zhao Fu's fists ferociously smashed down, catching Zhang Mingyue off guard and smashing open a large crater. Zhang Mingyue coughed up a mouthful of blood and furiously looked at Zhao Fu, wanting to cut Zhao Fu into 1,000 pieces. He looked quite mad. Suddenly, he threw his saber into the sky, and the saber turned into a ray of light as it shot into the sky. In that instant, all of the spirit chi in the heavens and earth gathered. Saber seemed massacred domain. Zhang Mingyue roared, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. A massive wave of sharp saber chi descended from the sky, seeming to tear apart the world. Countless people felt pain in their bodies as they were injured by that saber chi, causing everyone to unleash defensive barriers and hurriedly retreat. Countless saber lights appeared in the sky, densely packed like an ocean. The boundless saber chi started to split the world, and it seemed as if nothing could stop it. Sensing this power, not only did countless people feel terror, but Zhao Fu also felt a massive pressure, and his expression became somewhat serious. Suddenly, within the sword mark space, the sadistic killing sword slightly trembled, and some information flowed into Zhao Fu's mind, and Zhao Fu immediately switched out the sadistic killing sword. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the sadistic killing sword in Zhao Fu's hand gave off a boundless sword light that pierced through everything. It was like a sun shining down on the world, and that perverse power caused people to feel despair. Some people were so scared that they fell to the ground. Images appeared around Zhao Fu. There were headless angels, demons with broken legs, people with only their upper bodies, elves with only half their bodies. Countless dismembered corpses appeared around Zhao Fu's body, forming a sea of corpses. The perverse power was terrifying to the extreme, and it was as if the heavens and earth had fallen into terror. Zhang Mingwei raised his hand and slammed it down toward Zhao Fu, and a massive sea of saber chi gave off world-destroying power as it flooded toward Zhao Fu. Tyrannical killing sword. Zhao Fu gripped the sadistic killing sword and vigorously slashed out, causing the dismembered corpses around him to howl and give off a berserk aura as they flooded towards Zhang Mingwei. Boom! Chapter 1249. The light was dim and the wind howled. The sky was covered with cracks that were slowly being repaired, and the ground was covered with cracks. Rocks fell everywhere, creating a scene of devastation. Countless people looked at this scene in shock. This was a battle caused by two imperial princes. The gatekeepers guarding the red doors looked incredibly shocked. This was the most terrifying battle they had seen in over 1,000 years. These two imperial princes had not disappointed them. In the sky, Zhao Fu held the sadistic killing sword, and there was blood on his chest. Within a large crater in the ground, Zhang Mingwei was in a much worse state. His body was dyed red with blood, and his aura was quite weak. Zhao Fu's eyes exploded with killing intent. If he did not kill this kind of person, there would be endless problems in the future. When he had his empire descend, Zhao Fu would not even know how he had died. Xing! Zhao Fu's body disappeared and appeared in front of Zhang Mingwei in the next second. His sword gave off a sharp sword light as it slashed towards Zhang Mingwei. Zhang Mingwei hurriedly slashed out, sending out an intense saber light that clashed with Zhao Fu's sword light. The saber and sword clashed, resulting in a clanging sound. Zhao Fu's expression became savage, and a black aura flame appeared around his body as he pressed towards Zhang Mingwei. Zhang Mingwei's saber was gradually forced down, and he ferociously looked at Zhao Fu as he suddenly roared. Boom! A powerful aura exploded out from Zhang Mingwei's body, sending Zhao Fu flying back. Zhang Mingwei's blood seemed to be burning, looking like purple and blood-red flames. An intense emperor's aura reached its peak and swept out in all directions. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed and also ignited his emperor's blood. A black and blood-red aura flame appeared, and an intense emperor's aura spread out. Boom! Zhao Fu slashed out, sending out a large amount of blood-red sword light towards Zhang Mingwei. Zhang Mingwei raised his saber to block, but he was still sent flying. After crashing to the ground, Zhang Mingwei's expression became quite unsightly. He was now clear that with his strength, he was not a match for a fake like Zhao Fu. Even though he did not want to admit this was a humiliation, he knew that he was not a match for Zhao Fu. Zhang Mingwei coldly looked at Zhao Fu and said loudly, I, Zhang Mingwei, will remember this enmity. In the future, I'll make you kneel and beg me to spare you. Hearing this, Zhao Fu understood and grabbed at Zhang Mingwei, and countless chains containing ferocious power shot toward Zhang Mingwei. Zhang Mingwei's body gradually became hazy, and he coldly laughed at Zhao Fu. He slashed out an enormous saber light, destroying the countless chains before disappearing. Zhang Mingwei, Zhang Emperor, and Emperor. Seeing Zhang Mingwei disappear, everyone understood that Zhao Fu had won this battle. The arrogant and domineering imperial prince had escaped, causing many people to let out a sigh of relief and express that they did not like such an imperial prince. Everyone watched as Zhang Mingwei disappeared and understood that Zhao Fu had won. That arrogant and domineering emperor had escaped, causing many people to let out sighs of relief. They did not like such an emperor. The gatekeeper next to the red door was not too surprised. From the emperor's aura that Zhao Fu gave off, Zhao Fu was evidently many times stronger than Zhang Mingwei. Now, everyone looked at Zhao Fu in awe and fear. This emperor was truly terrifying. He had defeated another emperor head-on. Everyone accepted this battle, and no one had any objections. After Zhang Minghua left, Zhao Fu received a system announcement. You fought with another emperor in front of the gatekeeper and fulfilled the conditions for a duel. The other emperor has left the Cosmos historical remnant and is the loser. You will obtain all of his points. Looking at this system announcement, Zhao Fu opened the rankings. Number 1. Unknown name, points, 1 million. Number 2. Unknown name, points, 780,000. Number 3. Unknown name, points, 550,000. Number 4. Bai Shanjun, points, 510,000. Number 5. Yu Yi, points, 300,000. Zhao Fu felt quite shocked. Adding on Zhang Mingyue's points, Zhao Fu was now ranked first. He now had 1 million points, which was 220,000 points higher than the previous first-ranked person. He had never thought that he would have such a harvest, which was quite a pleasant surprise. The ordinary-looking young man who had been ranked first also looked quite shocked. He had never thought that the person from before would instantly surpass him and have 200,000 points more than him. This caused him to become serious. The second-ranked, white-haired young man looked quite furious. Everything was just as he had guessed. That person was incredibly dangerous and had taken first place. This made his plan even more difficult, and it was possible that he would not be able to obtain that item. The fourth-ranked Bai Shanjun did not say anything and only sighed. At the same time, he felt quite curious about who this person was and why he had such shocking power. Master, you're so powerful. After the battle concluded, the nine-tailed fox, Little Li, leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace and looked at Zhao Fu with admiration. Zhao Fu smiled and looked at the 9 tails behind her. Zhao Fu could not help but think of Little Nine. There were many people around him who were related to the 9-tailed fox. For example, the Green Hill Mountain bloodline had the 9-tailed bloodline. The young chief Su Dafei was incredibly bewitching, and then there was Tamamonome, who was a 9-tailed fox herself. Then there was Little Nine, and now there was Little Li. Zhao Fu did not think too much and flew towards the red doors. At that moment, the gatekeeper respectfully pushed open the doors and cautiously said, "Emperor, you can enter without going through the trial. You can enter the red door without going through the trial, but your subordinates will have to go through the trial before they can enter." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite startled and thought about it before having everyone stay here. Firstly, he had too many people with him, which was quite inconvenient. Secondly, it was the 3rd stage of the 4th level, which would be much more dangerous. In order to be safe, he could only have them stay here. Hearing that they had to separate from Zhao Fu and stay in the 5th level, some of the women were quite unwilling. However, Zhao Fu was quite resolute, so they did not dare to insist. Zhao Fu turned into a ray of light and flew through the red doors, and the 5th level returned to how it was before. When Zhao Fu had been here, everyone had been incredibly careful and had not dared to speak too loudly. It could be seen just how powerful Zhao Fu's presence was. Now, there was nothing to worry about. Those who had to go through the trial went through it, and those who passed the trial prepared to head to the 4th level. After entering the red doors, Zhao Fu came to a hill. It was quite dim here, and visibility was quite low. It was completely silent here, as if there was killing intent all around. Anyone who was here could not help but feel terrified. The 4th, 3rd, and 2nd levels were called the 3 dark domains, and they were the most dangerous levels in the Cosmos historical remnant. The Cosmos beasts here were all at the Saint Realm, and if a group surrounded them, even World Realm experts would run. Chapter 1250. Zhao Fu started to carefully fly at a low altitude while looking around warily. Because of how dangerous this place was, Zhao Fu did not dare to be too flashy. Roar! Suddenly, a massive roar sounded out as a 30-meter-tall ape appeared. It was covered with black fur and had black eyes, and its body gave off a pure darkness aura. All of the Cosmos beasts in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels were of the darkness attribute. This black ape's black eyes had already discovered Zhao Fu, and it raised its large hand, bringing with it a gust of wind as it slapped toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed and slashed out with a sadistic killing sword. A blood-red arc of light flashed out, slashing apart the incoming hand and leaving behind a deep gash from which black blood flowed out. The black ape howled as it retreated. In actuality, the Saint Realm was already quite powerful, and if it was an ordinary Stage 9 beast, that hand would most likely have been slashed apart. Zhao Fu rushed up, and his sword exploded out with a blood-red light. The black ape furiously raised its other hand and vigorously slammed it towards Zhao Fu, causing the air to explode. Facing this punch, Zhao Fu's expression did not change, and he stabbed the blood-red sword towards the incoming hand. Roar! A pained cry sounded out as the black ape's hand was slashed apart by the blood-red light, causing one of its fingers to fall off. It once again retreated. This time, it was afraid and wanted to run. Zhao Fu held the sadistic killing sword and stabbed out, piercing through the black ape's chest. The black ape immediately died and turned into motes of black light that entered Zhao Fu's body, leaving behind a black crystal and a black heart. This black crystal was as big as a coin and had an irregular shape. It gave off a faint black light and a darkness aura. Zhao Fu looked at it and found that it was a darkness crystal. It contained pure darkness energy and was quite powerful. Anyone who used it would obtain the darkness attribute, and their cultivation would increase by more than one stage. After all, if one's cultivation reached stage 0 to 6 or 0 to 7, after consuming the Blood God pill, one's cultivation would immediately reach stage 0 to 9, and if one used the darkness crystal, one would be able to directly reach stage 1. Zhao Fu placed great importance on raising his cultivation to stage 0 to 6 or 0 to 7. Qin's stage 1 corpses now numbered in the tens of billions, and with these darkness crystals, Qin would be able to obtain a large number of stage 1 corpses. This would make up for the difference between Qin's foundation and the outside world. Even if stage 1 corpses died, they would quickly be replenished. However, it seemed that these darkness crystals were quite small, and they could only obtain one from killing a Saint Realm black ape. Compared to Great Qin's army of 10 billion soldiers, this was simply too little. The second item was a heart, and it was still beating. It was black and gave off a dense darkness aura. After looking at it, Zhao Fu found that it was called the Darkness Ape Heart, and anyone who used it would obtain a pure darkness bloodline. This pure darkness bloodline was an elemental bloodline. It was not a demon or evil god bloodline, and it was a type of spirit race bloodline. Even though the spirit race was one of the 8 great races, they were incredibly rare in the Heaven Awakened world. They were lifeless creatures, but after giving birth to souls, they became a type of life form. The world's basic attributes greatly affected them, such as darkness, light, fire, ice, lightning, and so on. These elements caused the spirit race to innately have powerful attributes. The pure darkness bloodline was one such bloodline, and it was even stronger than some pure fire bloodlines, wind bloodlines, and lightning bloodlines. Of course, this heart only gave a low-grade darkness bloodline, so Zhao Fu was not interested in it. However, the darkness crystal combined with the darkness bloodline was extremely powerful, and it could raise one's cultivation by at least 3 or 4 stages. Zhao Fu continued onwards. Even though the darkness bloodline and the darkness crystal were quite useful, he did not focus too much on killing them. After all, a person's power was limited, and he would not be able to kill too many of them. Even if he brought the people on the 5th level in, it would not be enough unless he had an army. Roar! Another beast, Roar, sounded out as a 100-meter-long lion appeared in front of Zhao Fu. This lion had black fur and red eyes. It had 2 heads and was most likely at least a chief-grade cosmos beast. Zhao Fu looked at Zhao Fu, and his eyes were red. Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile and turned into a ray of light as he rushed up. The black lion discovered Zhao Fu and opened its mouth at Zhao Fu, shooting out 2 massive rays of black light that ferociously shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's body flew to the side, avoiding one of the rays of black light, and he slashed out with his sword. A massive blood-red sword light slashed the rays of black light in half and slashed into the black lion's body, forcing it back a few steps and leaving a gash on its body. The black lion howled in pain and furiously rushed at Zhao Fu before opening its mouth and biting toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not dodge and stood in the air as the sadistic killing sword gave off an intense blood-red light and a terrifying aura spread out. Boom! Zhao Fu slashed out, and a massive sword light slammed into the black lion's mouth, sending it flying back and heavily crashing to the ground. Its two heads were a bloody mess, and it looked like it had been heavily injured. Zhao Fu quickly went up and killed the black lion. He once again obtained a darkness crystal and a darkness heart, and both of them were more powerful than the previous one. The darkness crystal could increase one's strength by more than 2 stages, and after using the darkness heart, one could obtain an even higher grade darkness bloodline. However, Zhao Fu was still not satisfied and continued onwards, hoping to find some historical remnants. Shing, shing, shing. A few hours later, Zhao Fu continuously swung the sadistic killing sword, sending out sharp blood-red sword lights and sending out a ferocious storm of sword chi as he slashed toward the 200 or so big black deer. The black deer's body gave off a black energy barrier, blocking Zhao Fu's attacks. The blood-red sword lights slashed against the energy barrier, causing it to gradually crack before shattering, and the massive black deer was sent flying. The black deer's body was covered with wounds as it escaped, and Zhao Fu turned into a ray of black sword light and chased after it. His sword gave off an intense sword light and a sharp sword aura, causing the surroundings to fall silent. Shing! Zhao Fu slashed down, and the massive blood-red sword light cut off the black deer's head. Blood spurted out, and the black deer's body turned into motes of light, leaving behind a darkness crystal and a darkness heart. The 200 or so meter long black deer was a chief-class cosmos beast, and killing one would give many points. The 2 items it gave were of a higher grade. A darkness crystal could increase one's strength by 5 stages, and the darkness heart gave a higher grade darkness bloodline. But Zhao Fu was still not satisfied. Chapter 12:51. If he could break through to the heavenly divine bloodline, Zhao Fu's power, constitution, and soul would all go through changes, and he would become even more powerful. He would be able to surpass even emperors. Zhao Fu continued to search. For some reason, even after searching for so long, he had not found a single historical remnant. Otherwise, he would have explored the 4th level, and with how dangerous it was, the rewards from the historical remnant would most likely be quite great. Roar! A dragon's roar sounded out in all directions as a massive darkness aura flowed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu could not help but feel delighted because he could sense a king's aura. That darkness dragon was definitely the Darkness Dragon King, which was also a Cosmos Beast King. After killing the Darkness Dragon King, he would definitely be able to obtain what he wanted, and Zhao Fu flew over in delight. A 1,000-meter-long black dragon appeared in front of Zhao Fu. It had shiny black scales and a pair of iron-like horns. It also had a pair of black wings and gave off a powerful dragon's might. Seeing this black dragon, Zhao Fu did not immediately rush up, as there were hundreds of cosmos beasts around it. It would be quite dangerous to rush over like this. Zhao Fu hid in a hidden place and looked around to see if he could use anything. He found that there were still 10 or so destruction crystals that Karash and Binoche had prepared for him. They were not as powerful as ordinary destruction crystals, but they would be useful now. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as Zhao Fu grasped an opportunity and threw out the 10 or so destruction crystals. The 10 or so destruction crystals exploded within the group of cosmos beasts, and shockwaves blasted out. Countless cosmos beasts were devoured and turned into motes of light. From a distance, it looked like 10 or so orbs of light had instantly spread out, causing the ground to tremble and a wild gale to blow away rocks. The 10 or so destruction crystals had killed hundreds of cosmos beasts, and now there were only 50 or so left. The Cosmos Beast King was also slightly injured. Zhao Fu was not in a hurry to act. He would sneak attack 10 or so Cosmos Beasts and be discovered by the Cosmos Beast before revealing himself to face the Cosmos Beast King. Roar! The Cosmos Beast King furiously roared at Zhao Fu, and countless bolts of black lightning exploded out, causing people's bodies to tremble. Zhao Fu's face turned serious. This Void Beast King's power was almost the same as that of a Sky Human Realm cultivator. It'd be very difficult to deal with. Boom, boom, boom. The Void Beast King controlled countless bolts of black lightning to attack Zhao Fu. Thunderous booms sounded out, and the air seemed to explode, causing people's ears to bleed. Zhao Fu unleashed the Six Paths Demon Image's power, using his Emperor's Domain and Six Paths defensive barrier to defend against the incoming black lightning. At the same time, he controlled the 72 blood-red spears, which gave off ferocious power as they shot into the Cosmos Beast King's body. Roar! The Cosmos Beast King howled in pain, and its body exploded out with even more lightning, causing the sky to seem to explode. Countless lightning snakes slithered about and madly rushed at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not feel any fear and once again used that move. Countless images of mutilated corpses appeared around Zhao Fu. Headless angels, demons with broken arms, people without hearts, a murderous aura madly spread out. Boom! Zhao Fu's sword descended, and countless mutilated corpses rushed out and slammed into the Black Dragon. In the end, Zhao Fu once again won, and the Black Dragon was sent flying back, covered with wounds. Following this, Zhao Fu rushed up and finished off the Cosmos Beast King in a few moves, obtaining a Darkness Crystal and a Darkness Bloodline. Zhao Fu grinned and found a hidden cave. He sat on the ground and looked at the two items in his hands. If these two items fell into the hands of others, they would be priceless treasures. They could give one darkness power and a darkness bloodline, and they were incredibly attractive to ordinary people. However, Zhao Fu did not think much of them because Zhao Fu's bloodline was a sovereign bloodline, so he naturally would not be interested in a king's bloodline. Next was fusing. Zhao Fu first fused the heart and crystal together. Because they were both pure darkness power, the fusion was perfect, and they became a black crystal heart that gave off a powerful might. Zhao Fu then fused the heart into his own heart. Immediately, Zhao Fu felt his body tremble as a wave of darkness blood flowed out from his heart, and countless traces of darkness aura spread out. Soon, Zhao Fu became a person with black hair and black eyes. The blood within his body became black, and Zhao Fu gave off a pure darkness king's aura. Suddenly, Zhao Fu's sovereign bloodline started to show its effects, devouring the darkness king's power. Zhao Fu's body gradually returned to normal, and at the same time, Zhao Fu's body started to go through changes. A few hours later, Zhao Fu's sovereign bloodline completely devoured the darkness king's power, and his body gradually returned to normal. His blood became red with a trace of a black crystal, and his pupils became different colors. Zhao Fu obtained the Darkness King's power, and his constitution once again became better. His cultivation greatly increased, but what disappointed Zhao Fu the most was that Zhao Fu's bloodline was still a sovereign bloodline, and it was just a trace away from breaking through to a divine bloodline. Zhao Fu did not know what to say. Why was that trace so difficult? He had tried so many times, but he still had not succeeded. Zhao Fu felt quite annoyed and left the cave. He continued to kill Cosmos beasts while searching for historical remnants. Within a grand and luxurious Western palace, there was a tall, peerlessly beautiful woman dressed in tight black armor. She had long, silver-white hair and a crown with 2 horns on her head. She also had a pair of purple eyes, and she gave off the cold aura of a queen. She was now commanding countless darkness soldiers, who wore black armor and had pale faces. Their eyes were pure black, and their bodies gave off traces of a black aura. All of their auras were very powerful, and apart from infantry, there were also shield-bearers, cavalry, and archers. They were under the queen's command, and they acted as if they were facing a powerful enemy as they attacked in a certain direction. In that direction, there was a 1,000-meter wide, 5-colored energy barrier that gave off an unparalleled aura and unimaginably terrifying power, as it ferociously smashed forwards like a berserk bull. One by one, the dark ray soldiers were sent flying like sand being swept away. They had no power to resist at all. The darkness soldiers continuously rushed up and attacked the 5-colored energy barrier. Their weapons slashed against the energy barrier, and countless darkness arrows shot towards the energy barrier. However, facing the flood-like attacks, the 5-colored energy barrier was not damaged at all, and it was still as tough as steel. This was because there was a 5-colored disc within the 5-colored energy barrier that absorbed all of the attack power, making the 5-colored energy barrier incredibly tough. Chapter 1252. The Darkness Queen Syndra looked at by Shengjun seriously and said, "This person is simply too powerful. Even with so many soldiers, we can't harm him at all." Looking at the darkness soldiers being swept away, Syndra could not help but act. She held a black whip and vigorously swung it, sending out a black energy whip that was hundreds of meters long and ferociously lashing against the 5-colored energy barrier. After being hit by this attack, the 5-color energy barrier slightly trembled but did not deal much damage. This energy barrier was incredibly sturdy. A trace of a confident smile appeared on by Shengjuan's face as he sent an even greater wave of power into the 5-colored energy barrier. The 5-colored energy barrier gave off terrifying power as it rampaged about, sending countless darkness soldiers flying. Seeing Bai Xingjun come closer and closer, Syndra's expression became quite grim because she found that Bai Xingjun was far more powerful than her. If they fought, she would definitely lose. Boom! A powerful aura suddenly descended. It was a cloaked figure giving off the aura of a darkness emperor. This caused the Darkness Queen Syndra to feel delighted, and she directly knelt on the ground as she said, "Great Darkness Sovereign, Syndra is willing to submit to you and serve by your side." She had no other choice. Bai Xingjun had come to kill her, and she did not want to die. As such, she could only submit to someone else. This person had the aura of a darkness emperor and was undoubtedly the most suitable candidate. As soon as Zhao Fu arrived and heard Syndra's words, he felt quite startled and did not understand what was going on. He had only felt that the ripples here were quite powerful, so he had quickly rushed over. Sensing Zhao Fu's aura, Bai Shengjuan's expression became serious as he cupped his hands and said in a slightly courteous tone, "Brother, she is someone that I must kill. She is someone I must kill, so please do not interfere." Zhao Fu felt quite hesitant. Sensing Bai Shengjuan's powerful aura, he knew that he was Bai Shengjun, and he looked at Syndra as he said, "Should I offend such a powerful enemy for her?" Syndra could tell that Zhao Fu was hesitating, and her beautiful purple eyes gave off a trace of flirtatiousness as she said, "Great Darkness Sovereign, don't you want me to serve you? I have the Darkness Queen's bloodline, which is the most suitable bloodline for you. Also, my body has fused with the Darkness Origin Crystal, which is also very useful to you." That person wanted to kill me and obtain the Darkness Origin Crystal in my body. Zhao Fu found it strange that Syndra called him the Lord of Darkness, but after thinking about it, he reckoned that it should be because he had fused with the king's blood of darkness previously, and that Zhao Fu did not know what a darkness crystal was. The Golden Dragon said, "The Darkness Origin Crystal can be the source of all darkness. With her, we might be able to produce a large number of darkness crystals. I suggest that we accept her submission." Upon hearing this, Zhao Fu accepted Syndra's surrender without hesitation, because Zhao Fu had always wanted to obtain a large number of darkness crystals. Seeing that Zhao Fu had accepted his loyalty, Syndra smiled and flew over to Zhao Fu. Bai Shengjuan's expression became cold. It seemed that this battle was unavoidable. He had come for the Darkness Origin Crystal, and he said rudely, "Sir, do you really want to participate?" Syndra came to Zhao Fu's side and smiled as she leaned against Zhao Fu's body, greedily absorbing the Darkness Emperor's aura from Zhao Fu's body, feeling her body become excited. Zhao Fu did not mind Syndra and focused his attention on Bai Shengjun. He understood that he had to fight this battle because Zhao Fu wanted the Darkness Origin Crystal. She could allow Qin to obtain countless Darkness Crystals, and Qin would have a large number of Stage 1 Darkness soldiers. Facing Bai Shengjun's rudeness, Zhao Fu coldly replied, "She's mine now. No one can take her away from me." Bai Shengjun angrily harumphed and said, "Then let me see just how strong you are, and if you have the ability to protect her." Golden snake, wooden ox, water fish, fire sparrow, earth turtle. Bai Shengjun spread out his hands, and a 5-colored energy barrier spread out. The 5-colored auras formed 5 massive creatures. One was a giant metal snake that was hundreds of meters long. One was a cow that looked like a piece of wood. One was a fish that was condensed from water. One was a sparrow that gave off flames. And one was a turtle that seemed to be made of mud. The 5 massive beasts gave off incredibly powerful auras and flooded over like a ferocious flood. The remaining Darkness soldiers did not dare to come close. Sensing this aura, Zhao Fu's expression became serious. He understood that Bai Shengjun was not weak at all and was even slightly stronger than Zhang Mingwei. Otherwise, he would not have been taken as a disciple by a higher being. Zhao Fu looked down at Syndra, who was greedily absorbing his aura, and said, "Back off for now. When we fight, I won't be able to take care of you." Syndra understood and smiled as she kissed Zhao Fu and said, "Then, King, I'll wait for your victory." Syndra retreated, and Zhao Fu did not care anymore. He exploded out with his Emperor's aura, and a massive might covered the surroundings. Bai Shengjun waved his hand, and the 5 massive beasts gave off intense light, dyeing the world 5 different colors. Powerful gales blew, causing the heavens and earth to dim as the 5 massive beasts gave off terrifying power and rushed at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu opened his right hand, and the sword mark on the back of his hand flashed with intense sword light. Rays of light shot out. The Sky Demon Sword, Slaughtering Ghost Sword, Royal Wood Sword, Sin Dragon Sword, and Seraph Sword. The 5 swords floated around Zhao Fu and gave off intense sword light, causing the world to become sharp. Waves of sword wind blew in all directions, and the sharp sword wind could cut people's skin, making countless creatures instinctively not dare to come close. At the same time, the 5 swords gave off countless rays of sword light, looking like 3-meter-long swords of light that shot towards Bai Shengjun. Boom! 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 The 5 massive swords giving off different colored lights, and the 5 different colored beasts ferociously clashed together, resulting in a massive explosion. Countless rainbow-colored lights shot everywhere, and shockwaves spread out, causing the ground to continuously collapse. Another peerless battle between experts had begun. The instant this battle exploded out, everyone on the 4th level sensed it and looked in Zhao Fu's direction in shock, not knowing what was going on. Bang! 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 The sky was covered by light as the 5 swords of light and the 5 different colored beasts violently clashed in the sky. Powerful gales blew out, causing sand and pebbles to fly and trees to snap. Shing! A massive sword hum exploded out as Zhao Fu held the sadistic killing sword, and Bai Shengjun held the 5-colored sword. Their swords gave off terrifying power as they clashed, and the air seemed to explode. A terrifying aura continuously spread out, causing countless cosmos beasts to retreat in fear. Chapter 1253. Boom! The instant that Bai Shengjun was blasted back, he stretched out a hand and grabbed at Zhao Fu. His hand turned into a massive flaming hand that gave off searing heat as it grabbed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was quite startled, and his Emperor's domain immediately appeared. The massive flaming hand slammed against the Emperor's domain, and Zhao Fu's body was sent flying. Bai Shengjun stopped his body from flying backwards and slashed out with his sword, sending out a 5-colored crescent that tore through space and gave off powerful, slicing power as it flew toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu also slashed out a blood-red crescent that also gave off ferocious power as it slashed towards Bai Shengjun. Bang! The two crescents collided, resulting in a massive explosion. The shock wave turned into wild gales that swept out in all directions, causing boulders to roll and trees to sway. Beside him, Syndra looked at the battle between the two people in shock. This was the first time she had seen such a terrifying battle. Bai Xingjun was undoubtedly incredibly powerful, but luckily, she had just submitted. This person was not bad, or else she might have been killed by Bai Xingjun. The terrifying auras that spread out caused everyone on the 4th level to look quite shocked. However, they could not help but gather here because they wanted to know what was going on. However, as they got closer and closer, the terrifying ripples became more and more powerful. The destructive aura spread out, causing everyone to feel as if they had fallen into an icy cavern, and their bodies could not help but tremble. Boom! Boom! Explosions tore through the sky as the 5 massive beasts gave off massive roars and exploded out with terrifying power. The 5 swords gave off even more intense sword light as the two sides ferociously clashed, causing the heavens and earth to fall into chaos. 5 Elements Sword. Bai Xingjun pointed the 5 Elements sword at the sky, and a massive sword light shot into the sky. The sky seemed to explode as a shock wave spread out, scattering all of the dark clouds and dense black aura, causing the sky to become a clear blue color. Shing, 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 5 sword hums tore through the sky as 5 rays of sword light descended from the sky. They were gold, azure, blue, red, and yellow, and as the 5 rays of sword light descended, the heavens and earth trembled as the 5 elements madly gathered. 5 massive swords of light gave off world-destroying power as they hung in the air, causing the world to fall into terror. Zhao Fu's expression was serious as he equipped the Death Ray sword, and Zhao Fu's power and the 6 Paths Demon Image's power all entered it. Boom! In that instant, the Death Ray sword gave off a massive sword hum, and countless traces of deathly aura surged out like a volcanic eruption. It seemed boundless, and it instantly covered the surrounding 10,000 meters. Zhao Fu's body was also covered by the dense, deathly aura. Suddenly, countless traces of deathly qi started to spin, forming a massive vortex of deathly qi. Zhao Fu held the Death Race sword as he stood at the center of the vortex. A massive wave of heaven and earth power was sucked in, and a boundless deathly intent caused the heavens and earth to freeze. That cold and gloomy aura made the world seem like it was about to die. Everything became a deathly gray color, and there were no signs of life at all. The surrounding darkness aura was also expelled. Bai Shengjun's gaze was cold as he looked at Zhao Fu, and his 5-colored sword descended. Boom! Boom! The 5 massive swords of light in the air pointed towards Zhao Fu and shot out incredibly quickly, leaving behind 5 massive traces as they shot towards Zhao Fu like bolts of lightning. The skies seemed to have been slashed open by 5 swords. At that moment, Zhao Fu raised his sword horizontally, and countless traces of deathly qi continuously flowed out. The vortex of deathly qi gave off boundless deathly intent as it quickly spun and gave off a massive might. Bang! 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 The 5 swords of light gave off terrifying power as they shot into the vortex of deathly qi. The incredibly sharp sword light gradually pierced through the vortex of deathly qi, causing the vortex of deathly qi to give off 5-colored light. However, the vortex of deathly qi continued to spin, and the boundless deathly power continuously weakened the 5 swords of light. Ark! Bai Shengjun loudly roared as he ferociously stabbed forwards with his 5-colored sword. The 5 swords of light within the vortex of deathly qi exploded out with even more intense sword light and pierced through the vortex of deathly qi, causing the vortex of deathly qi to collapse. The 5 swords gave off dazzling light and gave off destructive power as they unstoppably blasted toward Zhao Fu. Bang! A shocking explosion sounded out. In that moment, countless traces of the collapsing deathly chi were absorbed by the death ray sword, causing it to give off an incredibly terrifying deathly intent. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a massive gray sword light slashed out, slashing against the 5 swords of light. The 5 swords of light were instantly destroyed, and the shockwave sent Zhao Fu flying back, causing Zhao Fu to cough up a mouthful of blood, and a gash appeared on his hand. Shing! The instant that Zhao Fu flew back, the 6 gray dots in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun. Countless eerie chains shot out from the air, and all of them shot towards Bai Shengjun with immense power. Bai Shengjun was given a big fright, and his 5-colored energy barrier spread out. The chains heavily slammed against it, causing the 5-colored energy barrier to violently tremble before being pierced through by the countless chains. However, the power of the chains had been weakened, and Bai Shengjun slashed out a few times, destroying the countless chains, causing them to fall like rain. Roar! However, at that moment, a massive wave of eerie, ghostly chi appeared beside Bai Shengjun. It was a 300-meter-tall demon with 2 horns, and it raised its fist and heavily smashed toward Zhao Fu. Bai Shengjun's body was like a sandbag, smashing open a large crater on the ground. Zhao Fu's body flashed, and he appeared above the crater. He raised the death ray sword in his hand, and countless rays of sword light shot out as Zhao Fu prepared to slash down. Bai Shengjun lay within the crater, and a trace of blood leaked out of his lips. Looking at Zhao Fu, who was about to attack, he slammed the ground. Bang! 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 Muffled explosions sounded out as hundreds of earthen pillars rushed out from the ground and vigorously smashed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's gaze became cold as he continuously slashed out with his sword, sending out rays of sword light that destroyed the earthen pillars, causing dirt to fly everywhere. Bai Shengjun took this opportunity to crawl up, and a powerful aura spread out. He gripped his 5-colored sword with both hands and vigorously stabbed it into the ground. Boom! A 6-meter-wide ray of lava rushed out of the ground with immense force. The massive heat caused the surrounding temperature to rise, and Zhao Fu was sent flying by the lava, causing his clothes to be somewhat charred. Standing in the air, Zhao Fu looked quite furious as he sent 6 massive traces of ghostly chi into his arm. Zhao Fu grabbed out with his hand, and a ghostly hand that was hundreds of meters wide gave off boundless ghostly power as it slammed towards Bai Shengjun, wanted to turn him into meat paste. Chapter 1254. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the 2 massive hands collided, resulting in a massive shockwave. A scalding shockwave spread out, causing the water vapor in the surroundings to disappear and countless plants to wither. Ghost Devour. Seeing that he was unable to attack Bai Shengjun, Zhao Fu roared, and the 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun. Countless traces of ghostly chi flowed out as ghosts ferociously leapt at Bai Shengjun like a flood. Bai Shengjun's gaze became serious, and he loosened his grip on the 5-colored sword. He started to form hand seals, and his hands gave off a green light. Boom! Bai Shengjun pressed his hand against the ground, and a powerful green wave of light spread out. Green vines burst out of the ground, giving off ferocious power as they shot towards the ghosts. In just an instant, countless ghosts were bound up by the vines. Zhao Fu coldly laughed and lightly shouted, "Ghost God Soldier!" The bound ghosts turned into balls of ghostly chi that turned into different weapons: sabers, swords, staffs, axes, etc. They instantly broke free from the vine's control and gave off sharp auras as they shot towards Bai Shengjun. Bai Shengjun was quite startled, and his 5-colored energy barrier instantly spread out. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as over 10,000 ghost soldiers smashed against the 5-colored energy barrier. The 5-colored energy barrier instantly shattered, and the countless ghost soldiers shot into it, about to pierce through Bai Shengjun's body. However, Bai Shengjuan's body turned into a ray of light and shot into the ground, disappearing. The ghost soldiers smashed into the ground, giving off muffled sounds as a 10 or so meter wide crater appeared in the ground. Shing! In the next second, Bai Shengjuan's body appeared behind Zhao Fu. The sword in his hand gave off a 5-colored sword light as he vigorously slashed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's heart tightened and his hair stood on end as he slashed out with his sword, blocking Bai Shengjuan's attack. Ark! Bai Shengjun roared as a 5-colored aura flame appeared around his body. A powerful wind blew as Bai Shengjun sent Zhao Fu flying back. After flying back, Zhao Fu stopped himself and coldly looked at Bai Shengjun. He raised the Death Race sword and ignited his Emperor's bloodline. A massive Emperor's might caused everything to fall silent. Countless traces of deathly chi flowed out as a figure wearing a palace dress appeared. Following this, that figure gave off a wave of deathly chi and rushed towards Bai Shengjun with unstoppable might. The 5-colored sword in Bai Shengjuan's hand shot out countless rays of light, and the 5-colored aura flame around his body rose 3 meters into the air. Bai Shengjun vigorously slashed out, and a 5-colored sword light containing power that seemed to be able to cut through everything flew out. Bang! The massive 5-colored sword light clashed with a wave of deathly aura, causing countless sword lights and deathly aura to shoot out in all directions. In the end, the deathly aura was even more powerful, shattering the 5-colored sword light and knocking Bai Shengjun down from the sky. Bai Shengjun, who had fallen to the ground, said with a trace of anger, "I admit that you're very strong. If it was before, I might not have been a match for you, but I'm not that Bai Shengjun from the desolate border." Boom! After Bai Shengjun spoke, a 5-colored pendant giving off intense light floated out of his clothes. An unimaginable power flooded out like a fountain, and the ground and space around them began to collapse. Rays of boundless 5-colored light descended from the sky, and the entire world sank into terror. The golden dragon said, "That person is using the power prepared for him by a higher being. Zhao Fu, you need to be careful." Hearing this, Zhao Fu earnestly nodded. 5 Elements World. A loud roar sounded out as a 5-colored energy barrier containing destructive power spread out incredibly quickly. It only took an instant for it to spread out, and a shocking explosion sounded out as the ground in the surrounding 100,000 meters was completely destroyed. A 100,000-meter wide and hundreds of meters deep crater appeared on the ground. Within the crater, there was a 10,000-meter wide 5-colored energy barrier. It was like a world within it. There was a ground, a blue sky, a stream, flowers, and mountains. This 10,000-meter wide 5-colored energy barrier continuously devoured the surrounding source energy, causing the space around it to collapse. The heavens and earth seemed to dim, and clouds became chaotic. Lightning continuously descended, making it seem as if the apocalypse had arrived. A trace of killing intent appeared in Bai Shengjuan's eyes as he looked at Zhao Fu and said, "Today is the day you die. Do you have any last words?" Zhao Fu coldly harumphed and asked, "Is that so? Then wait until you have the ability to kill me." Boom! An explosion sounded out as a ghostly flame that was dozens of meters tall burst forth from Zhao Fu's body, and an eerie gale swept out. Bai Shengjun did not say anything else, and his expression was cold as he stretched out a hand toward Zhao Fu. He vigorously pushed out, and the 10,000-meter wide 5-colored energy barrier gave off world-like power as it smashed toward Zhao Fu. It was incredibly fast, and space continuously collapsed. The pressure was enough to crush small rocks into powder. Even godly spirits would not be able to stop it. The 10,000-meter wide 5-color energy barrier quickly smashed toward Zhao Fu, and just as Zhao Fu was about to be smashed into meat paste, whoosh! At that moment, Zhao Fu tore open the clothes in front of his chest. A gray pearl floated out of Zhao Fu's chest, and 6 chains shot out. Boom! 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 6 explosions sounded out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Following this, everything seemed to freeze as a sky-toppling, ghostly chi swept out, causing the world to become a ghost world. 6 1,000-meter-tall figures giving off world-destroying power appeared in the sky. They were the six paths demon images at their peak. The 10,000-meter-wide, five-colored energy barrier gave off world-destroying power as it ferociously smashed toward Zhao Fu. At that moment, the six paths demon images raised their massive arms and gave off destructive power as they slammed towards the five-colored energy barrier. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the 10,000-meter-wide five-color energy barrier was slammed into the ground. The shock wave spread out, causing the ground to be ripped apart. Boulders were shattered, countless trees were uprooted, and a massive crater that was tens of thousands of meters wide appeared. Bai Shangjun looked quite shocked. He had never thought that Zhao Fu would have such a method. He had thought that he would be able to kill Zhao Fu with the five-colored spirit stones, but it seemed that he had underestimated Zhao Fu. By now, the six paths demon images had surrounded the 10,000-meter-wide, five-colored energy barrier. They raised their arms and gave off destructive power as they slammed against the five-colored energy barrier. From a distance, it looked like this place was covered by dark clouds and flashed with terrifying light as destructive ripples spread out. Shi Shuj, Ming Jian, Yu Quan, and the others had already reached the fourth level and were heading towards the terrifying aura. As they got closer and closer, they could not help but stop because they found that it was Zhao Fu's aura. Chapter 1255. Bai Howren's expression was quite unsightly as he looked ahead because he knew who was fighting with Zhao Fu. He was very familiar with that aura. It was his big brother, Bai Shangjun. He had once thought that with his big brother's talent, he would be able to suppress Zhao Fu. However, after seeing Zhao Fu's power, Bai Howren did not think that way. He had never thought that the two of them would clash so quickly. Looking at the terrifying scene covered by dark clouds and the shock waves that continuously spread out, it was evident that the battle was incredibly intense and terrifying. Boom! 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 The six paths demon images raised their massive hands and gave off terrifying power as they vigorously slammed against the five-colored energy barrier, resulting in massive explosions and strong gales. The five-colored energy barrier was incredibly sturdy, and after enduring so many attacks from the six paths demon images, it did not shatter. It only trembled and did not have a single crack. However, Bai Howren understood that with how he was being suppressed by the six paths demon images, the five elements world would be destroyed sooner or later. He had to break free from the six paths demon images suppression. Boom! Within the five-colored energy barrier, Bai Shangjun started to form seals with his hands, and five different colored orbs of light appeared around him. After the five orbs of light appeared, the five-colored energy barrier gave off an intense five-colored light and exploded out with a terrifying power. This wave of power was incredibly powerful, and it forced the six paths demon images surrounding it back a few steps. The 10,000-meter-wide, five-colored energy barrier gave off a terrifying might as it quickly rose into the sky. Even from far away, it could be seen that the five-colored orb of light gave off a terrifying aura as it floated in the sky. Five elements extermination. Bai Shangjun coldly looked at Zhao Fu and finished forming hand seals, causing the five orbs of light to explode. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the five-colored orb of light gave off a blinding five-colored light, looking like a five-colored sun. At the same time, a world-destroying and earth-shattering power spread out, causing the space, ground, grass, and rocks to gradually turn into dust. In the distance, the people who had come to see what was happening froze because the terrifying aura filled the air and seemed to fill the entire heavens and earth. At this moment, their bodies couldn't help but go rigid. This was an instinctive fear because if they continued forward, they might very well die. At that moment, everyone could only stop and look in shock at the five-colored sun in the sky, dispelling all of the darkness in the fourth level. A massive crater that was 100,000 meters wide and 1,000 meters deep had appeared in the ground, and it was still collapsing. Zhao Fu and the six paths demon images stood in the air, enduring the five-colored sun's power. They felt as if their bodies were being ripped apart, and it was incredibly painful. Zhao Fu brought the six paths demon images and landed on the ground. In actuality, it was advantageous to face the six paths demon images on the ground, as they were in the underworld. Boom! Under Zhao Fu's control, the six paths demon images half-squatted on the ground and vigorously slammed their hands against the ground, causing it to collapse. At the same time, a gray magic formation appeared, and a wave of underworld Yin-Chi erupted out like a volcano. Zhao Fu stood at the center of the Yin-Chi, between the six paths demon images. His body absorbed the Yin-Chi, and his body seemed to turn into a ghost. His jet black hair became gray-white, and his eyes were filled with a dense coldness. At the same time, Zhao Fu's aura became incredibly powerful. Raising his head, Zhao Fu looked at the five-colored sun in the sky, and the six gray dots in his right eye quickly spun. The six paths demon images roared and once again pressed their hands against the ground. Clang, clang, clang. Massive sounds of chains sounded out throughout the sky, shaking the underworld. Massive gray chains giving off an incredibly cold and eerie aura shot out from the ground towards the five-colored sun in the sky. Shing! The five-colored sun giving off blinding light was bound up by the hundreds of thousands of massive chains that shot out from the ground. This scene was incredibly shocking, and from the distance, they could see the chains that seemed to come from the underworld binding up the five-colored sun. The five-colored sun was bound up by countless cold chains, and its light gradually dimmed. The five elements' destruction power seemed to be gradually sealed, causing Baihaoren's expression to fall. Boom! Baihaoren raised a hand and roared as a five-colored aura flame appeared around his body. A powerful wave of power exploded out, and the dim five-colored energy barrier once again brightened. It slowly twisted and started to break free from the chains. Zhao Fu looked at Bai Sheng and coldly harumphed. The six gray dots in his right eye madly sped up, and a trace of gray blood flowed out from his right eye. Shing, shing, shing. Chains once again shot out from the ground. There were 100,000 of them, and each of them was 1 meter thick. They gave off massive amounts of cold and eerie power as they shot towards the five-colored sun in the sky, instantly binding it. Bai Sheng roared as he exploded out with immense power, controlling the five-colored energy barrier to try and break free from the chains. The chains clanked as waves of destructive aura spread out from the sky, shaking the sky and spreading out in all directions. Zhao Fu's eyes gave off a savage look as he raised a hand and vigorously grabbed at the air. Boom! The chains went taut before being pulled downwards, and the terrifying power from the underworld forcefully pulled the five-colored sun back to the ground. It almost smashed onto the ground, sending out a terrifying shockwave that caused the ground to collapse and trees to snap. Baihaoren coughed up a mouthful of blood. He had just fallen from the sky, and he had been heavily injured. Now, the five-colored energy barrier was bound to the ground by countless chains, and the blinding five-colored light from before had disappeared. The six paths demon gods squatting on the ground stood up and grabbed at the air, causing countless traces of Yin-Chi to flow out and form different weapons. They then once again surrounded the five-colored energy barrier. Boom! The muscular animal path demon god gripped its fist and punched out with destructive power, causing the air to explode. The power slammed into the five-colored energy barrier, causing it to violently tremble. Bang! The hungry ghost path demon god raised its machete and ferociously hacked down at the five-colored energy barrier, sending out a powerful saber wind. As the machete slammed into the five-colored energy barrier, it once again violently trembled. Shing! Another massive explosion sounded out as the Hell Path demon god gripped its pitchfork and gave off immense power as it stabbed into the five-colored energy barrier, causing a slight crack to appear on it. Chapter 1256. Zhao Fu gave a trace of a cold smile and had the Six Paths demon god continue to attack. The heavenly law demon god held its spear and exploded out with a shocking aura as it prepared to deal the final blow to the five-colored energy barrier. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of Zhao Fu and sent Zhao Fu flying with a punch. Zhao Fu's body flew out and smashed open a large crater on the ground. Because of this, the heavenly law demon god's attack stopped. Zhao Fu crawled up from the ground and coughed up a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with fury as he looked at the white-haired young man in front of him. The white-haired young man was naturally the person who had once been ranked second. He had been about to head to the third level, but he had sensed the terrifying ripples here, so he had quickly rushed over. Seeing Zhao Fu and Bai Shengjun fighting, he had not hesitated to help Bai Shengjun. This was because Zhao Fu was ranked first and would greatly affect his plan, so he had to kill this threat. The white-haired young man turned to look at Bai Shengjun and said in a dignified tone, "The two of us will work together to kill this person." Bai Shengjun did not even need to think before agreeing. After all, Zhao Fu was his enemy and the white-haired young man was helping him. He had to obtain the Darkness Origin Crystal, as that would allow his cultivation technique to improve and form the yin-yang five elements world. Seeing such a terrifying expert appear, Syndra felt quite shocked and felt a trace of fear. She stealthily retreated, planning to escape. She had only just submitted to Zhao Fu, so she naturally did not have much loyalty. Moreover, in a battle of that level, she would not be able to help much. The Golden Dragon looked at the white-haired young man and said to Zhao Fu, "That person's aura is quite strange. He's most likely some kind of expert who hid his power and entered the cosmos' historical remnant. Be careful, he's incredibly terrifying." Hearing this, Zhao Fu's expression became serious. He did not understand why this white-haired young man had gotten involved. It seemed that there was no enmity between them. Swish! The white-haired young man instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of Zhao Fu. His hand was like a sharp claw and gave off 5 cold lights as he grabbed toward Zhao Fu. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu dodged to the side. The claw gave off 5 cold lights and left 5 deep claw marks on the ground, which were 2 meters deep. Zhao Fu looked at the white-haired young man furiously. Now that he had joined in, he could only fight. Following this, Zhao Fu controlled the Six Paths demon images to attack the white-haired young man. How could Bai Shengjun allow Zhao Fu to do as he wished? He stretched out a hand and 5 colored tentacles, giving off powerful auras shot out, wrapping around the Six Paths demon images. He was responsible for pinning down these 6 terrifying monsters. However, the white-haired young man's Zhao Fu of the demon of the Six Paths Fu of domain of a sword. However, just as Zhao Fu moved, the white-haired young man grabbed the air and countless traces of blood-red aura flowed out, forming a blood-red spear that gave off ferocious power as it shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu gripped the Death Ray's sword and vigorously slashed out, sending out a gray sword light that shattered the blood-red spear. The white-haired young man held the spear and rushed forwards, stabbing towards Zhao Fu's throat. The immense sharpness caused Zhao Fu's hairs to stand on end. However, Zhao Fu did not move at all as countless traces of black aura flowed into his feet, and a black magic formation that was dozens of meters wide appeared, giving off a powerful aura. Swish, 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 black spikes that were 3 fingers wide gave off ferocious power as they stabbed out from the black magic formation. They seemed to be able to pierce through steel, and Zhao Fu used the king's profoundness that he had not used in a long time. The white-haired young man's expression slightly fell, and he grabbed out with his hand, causing countless traces of blood-red aura to flow out and form another blood-red spear. The white-haired young man held the 2 spears and spun around like a whirlwind, sending out blood-red arcs of light that destroyed the countless black spikes. Zhao Fu raised the Death Ray sword, which gave off an intense sword light. He vigorously slashed out, sending out a massive sword light towards the white-haired young man. Bang! The massive sword light gave off ferocious sword energy and slashed apart the whirlwind, but the white-haired young man was nowhere to be seen. Zhao Fu felt quite startled as he felt a wave of danger coming from behind him, and he slashed out with his sword. Shing! The sword light and blood-red spear collided, resulting in a metallic collision sound. The spear that was stabbing toward Zhao Fu was deflected by Zhao Fu. The white-haired young man coldly harumphed, and a massive wave of blood-red aura flowed out, forming a massive blood-red tiger behind him. It gave a massive roar and ferociously leapt at Zhao Fu. 72 blood-red energy orbs floated out of Zhao Fu's body, forming 72 blood-red spears that simultaneously shot out. The 72 spears turned into rays of light that pierced through the blood-red tiger's body, causing it to turn into traces of blood-red aura and dissipate. Bang! However, the white-haired young man had suddenly appeared next to Zhao Fu and kicked at Zhao Fu. The massive power behind the kick sent Zhao Fu flying. Cough! Zhao Fu lightly coughed up a mouthful of blood and looked furious as he equipped the sadistic killing sword. His sovereign bloodline started to burn as a terrifying emperor's aura spread out. The blood-red sadistic killing sword was gradually dyed black and blood-red, and it gave off an emperor's might as if it was an emperor's weapon. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the sadistic killing sword in Zhao Fu's hand gave off a boundless black sword light that pierced through everything. It was like a black sun covering the world, and the entire heavens and earth seemed to sink under that terrifying emperor's might, causing space to twist. Images appeared around Zhao Fu. There were headless angels, demons with broken legs, people with only their upper bodies, elves with only half their bodies, and countless soldiers who had died in battle. Countless corpses giving off black light appeared around Zhao Fu's body, looking like a massive black ocean of corpses. A terrifying, destructive aura spread out, causing the heavens and earth to change. Seeing Zhao Fu unleash this attack, the white-haired young man's expression became serious, and a massive wave of blood-red qi flowed out from his body. After the blood-red qi flowed out, it did not dissipate and instead wrapped around the white-haired young man. Gradually, more and more blood-red qi gathered and became denser and denser, and a massive might spread out. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the blood-red qi continuously changed and expanded, forming a 1,000-meter-tall blood-red giant. It gave off a massive aura that seemed to be able to hold up the heavens and earth, causing the world to tremble. Zhao Fu swung the sword in his hand, and a massive ocean of corpses gave off a terrifying aura as it flooded towards the blood-red giant. The blood-red giant held a spear and gave a massive roar as it gave off a courageous and invincible aura as it rushed over. Boom! Chapter 12:57. The collision of the two attacks resulted in a massive gale. Countless boulders were blown into the sky, and trees were uprooted as the heavens and earth were ravaged by the gale. Bang! The blood-red giant gave a massive roar and exploded out with an even more intense aura as it threw out its blood-red spear. The blood-red spear gave off terrifying power as it slashed out, leaving behind faint traces of blood. Countless black corpses were destroyed, unable to resist at all. Zhao Fu was quite startled because the spear was flying towards him. Zhao Fu raised the sadistic killing sword and sent large amounts of Emperor's power into it, causing it to give off an intense sword light. Boom! The massive blood-red spear gave off terrifying power as it flew toward Zhao Fu. Just as it was about to hit Zhao Fu slashed down with his sword, sending out an enormous black sword light and causing a massive explosion to sound out. The blood-red spear was destroyed by Zhao Fu, but Zhao Fu's body was sent flying back by the shockwave. Roar! 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 Roars suddenly sounded out. It was the Six Paths demon images fighting with by Shangjun. They started to resist Zhao Fu's control over them. This caused Zhao Fu's expression to become quite unsightly. He had let them out for too long, and the ghost world pearl's sealing power had quickly weakened, causing the six paths demon images to start to resist. Six chains once again shot out from the ghost world pearl and shot into the six paths demon images' bodies, putting them away. Bai Shengjun coldly laughed and dispelled the five elements world. The five-colored energy barrier disappeared, and Bai Shengjun flew to the side, pincer attacking Zhao Fu with the white-haired young man. Boom! Boom! Two massive explosions sounded out as the white-haired young man looked at Zhao Fu with killing intent. A blood-red flame appeared around his body as a powerful power exploded out. Bai Shengjun coldly looked at Zhao Fu as a five-colored aura flame appeared around his body. Boom! Facing the two people, Zhao Fu's expression was serious, and a cold, ghostly flame appeared around his body. The six paths demon images returned to his body, and Zhao Fu could now use their power. The white-haired youth was the first to attack. He turned into a ray of light and charged at Zhao Fu. The blood-red spear in his hand stabbed towards Zhao Fu's chest. Zhao Fu dodged to the side, and Bai Shengjun's five-colored sword light gave off sharp sword chi as it slashed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's sadistic killing sword gave off a sword hum as a black crescent slashed out. Bang! The two sword lights clashed together, resulting in a massive explosion. Countless sword lights shot out in all directions, and a powerful wind blew in all directions. Boom! The white-haired young man's spear gave off countless traces of blood-red light, and a terrifyingly sharp aura spread out. The white-haired young man ferociously stabbed out like a wild beast, and Zhao Fu hurriedly turned and vigorously stabbed out with his sword. Bang! Bang! Explosions sounded out in all directions as the battle between the three people caused the heavens and earth to dim. The sun and moon dimmed, and clouds became chaotic. Terrifying auras continuously flooded out, seeming to cover the fourth level. This place seemed to be covered by thick, dark clouds, and terrifying thunder could be heard from within the dark clouds, as if there were ferocious beasts hibernating. Wild gales blew about, and the surroundings were filled with killing intent, making them feel bone-chillingly cold. In the distance, the people watching looked incredibly shocked. The battle ahead was becoming more and more intense, and it was not just two people but three people fighting. The person who had just joined was also a peerless genius. In other words, these three peerless geniuses were intensely fighting. This was definitely a peerless battle, and no one knew why these three terrifying people were fighting together. Even though they were quite curious, no one dared to get close. The aura coming from there was not something they could get close to, and they could easily die. Shi Shuj, Yu Quan, Ming Jian, and the others decided to go over and take a look. They wanted to see what was going on, causing the fourth level to fall into panic, and they also wanted to see just how powerful that emperor was. Bai Haoran also went over, mainly because he was worried about his big brother's safety. Bang! Zhao Fu's body heavily crashed to the ground, causing the ground to crack and collapse. A 10-meter-wide crater appeared, and within the crater, Zhao Fu coughed up a large mouthful of blood. With his current strength, he was not a match for the two of them. Bai Shengjun looked at Zhao Fu and said coldly, "You've lost for sure. Before, I wanted to let you off, but now it's impossible. Letting you off will cause too much trouble in the future. Perhaps you can leave the Cosmos Historical Remnant and keep your life, but I won't give you that opportunity." The white-haired young man looked at Zhao Fu with killing intent and said to Bai Shengjun, "Don't waste words and kill this person to prevent anything unexpected from happening." Zhao Fu coldly looked at the two of them and powerlessly lay within the crater, looking like he was waiting for death. The white-haired young man and Bai Shengjun leapt forwards, wanted to finish off Zhao Fu. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the sky seemed to be unable to withstand that ferocious killing intent, and cracks appeared. Boundless sword light descended, causing the heavens and earth to fall silent. That cold, killing intent seemed to permeate everything. Lying on the ground, Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and grabbed at the air. A black and blood-red sword appeared in his hand, and countless rays of sharp sword chi seemed to explode out and spread out like lightning, destroying everything in its path. The white-haired young man and by Shengjuan's expressions fell, and they hurriedly unleashed their defensive barriers and retreated. After everything settled, a 10,000-meter wide and hundreds of meters deep crater had appeared in the ground, and traces of terrifying sword chi rose up from the ground. Within the air, Zhao Fu held his sword and stood there. His cloak had been torn apart, and his clothes were gone, revealing Zhao Fu's handsome face. His eyes were completely blood-red, and a blood-red sword mark had appeared on his forehead. His blood-red hair fluttered in the wind, and his body gave off a killing intent that seemed to freeze time and space. The white-haired young man, and by Shengjuan's expressions, became serious, and sensing this power, the ordinary-looking young man on the second level stopped. He thought about it and sat down cross-legged. The battle has only just begun. Are you ready to die? Zhao Fu looked at the two of them with his blood-red eyes and said with dense, killing intent. Boom! Just as Zhao Fu spoke, he raised the emperor-killing sword, and hazy, blood-red-eyed monsters holding blood-red swords appeared around Zhao Fu. There were over 10,000 of them, and they gave off heaven-toppling, killing intent. Swish, 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 as Zhao Fu's sword descended. The sword souls locked onto the two of them with their blood-red eyes and gave off terrifying, killing intent as they turned into black blurs and rushed over. Five Elements World. Bai Shengjuan's expression fell, and he once again unleashed the Five Elements World. A five-colored energy barrier spread out from his body, and there were mountains, rivers, flowers, and trees. A world-like power exploded out. Blood Spirit God. Chapter 1258. Boom! Boom! The 10,000 sword souls did not seem like much, but each of them was incredibly powerful. They rushed in front of the two of them and swung their blood-red swords, slashing towards the two of them with all their might, sending out sharp blood-red sword lights. Bai Howren unleashed Five Elements destruction power, destroying the incoming sword souls. The blood-red giant formed by the white-haired young man opened its mouth and spat out countless blood-red flames, incinerating the sword souls. Shing! A sword hum sounded out throughout the sky as Zhao Fu suddenly appeared in front of Bai Shengjun and slashed down with the emperor-killing sword. The heaven-toppling sword energy sent Bai Howren flying 1,000 meters back, and he crashed into a small mountain. The blood-red giant roared as it ferociously stabbed its blood-red spear towards Zhao Fu, and its powers seemed to be able to pierce through the ground. Bang! Zhao Fu slashed out backhanded, and a massive blood-red crescent containing enough power to tear through space slashed out, colliding with the spear. Zhao Fu's body did not move, but the blood-red giant stumbled back 5 or 6 steps. They had only just exchanged blows, but the terrifying power that Zhao Fu gave off caused Bai Howren and the white-haired young man to feel a trace of fear. Boom! Bai Shengjun did not hesitate for too long as the five-colored pendant on his chest gave off an intense five-colored light. An ocean-like wave of 5 elements power flowed into his body, and Bai Shengjun slashed out with his sword. The five-colored energy barrier instantly spread out to 10,000 meters, giving off a world-destroying might. Roar! The blood-red giant roared as countless traces of blood-red flames erupted around its body. Its body continuously grew until it became a 10,000-meter tall, blood-red giant, and its body gave off a world-destroying power. Zhao Fu also unleashed the Emperor-Killing Sword's power. The Emperor-Killing Sword gave off intense sword light, and the surrounding space seemed to be cut apart by sword chi. Boom! Zhao Fu turned into a ray of light and gave off immense power as he shot towards the blood-red giant. The blood-red giant gripped its spear and stabbed out, causing the space around it to explode. Bang! Zhao Fu also slashed out, and the destructive sword slashed against the spearhead, causing a massive explosion to sound out. A terrifying shock wave swept out, and the Stage 9 Cosmos Beast could not resist at all. Boom! Bai Shengjun stretched out a hand towards Zhao Fu, and the five-colored energy barrier gave off intense light, forming a ray of light that contained immense power as it shot toward Zhao Fu. Bang! Zhao Fu swung his sword, and a huge blood-colored crescent moon flashed. The five-colored light beam that was fiercely shooting over was instantly cut in half, turning into countless light spots and dissipating. The battle between the three of them was naturally incredibly terrifying. Terrifying shock waves exploded out, spreading out as if they could destroy the world, causing all living creatures to sink into terror. Some people finally reached the outskirts of the battlefield, and looking at the destruction caused by the battle, they fell into shock. The ground in front of them had been flattened, and the mountains and rivers had been wiped out. There were large craters and cracks everywhere, and rocks were scattered everywhere. All of the plants had disappeared, and there were traces of destructive auras rising from the ground. This is the battle that broke out just now? So terrifying. As expected from a peerless battle, only the top 5 geniuses would be able to do such a thing. The top 5 geniuses did not disappoint from the start. Not only did they have more points than everyone else, but the battle that had erupted out was on a godly level. However, they were even more shocked because they saw 2 people working together to fight a single person. Just how powerful was the other genius for 2 geniuses to work together to deal with a single person? Following this, they found that the person fighting 1 against 2 was the Emperor from before. Bai Howren also looked quite shocked. He had never thought that his big brother would work together with someone else to deal with a single person. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the 3 people clashed together with terrifying power. A destructive explosion blasted out, causing space to tear apart, and the 3 people's bodies flew back. After fighting for such a long time, all 3 of them were somewhat injured. 5 elements destruction. Now, the 3 of them were filled with fury and killing intent, wanting to kill each other at all costs. Bai Shengjun unleashed his most terrifying attack. The 10,000-meter wide, 5-colored energy barrier flew into the sky, and the 5-colored orb of light gave off a blinding 5-colored light, looking like a 5-colored sun. A world-destroying and earth-shattering power descended from the sky, causing space, ground, grass, trees, and rocks to turn into dust. Heavenly Snake, the 10,000-meter-tall, blood-red giant, raised its head and gave a heaven-shaking roar as a large amount of blood-red aura entered the blood-red spear. The blood-red spear seemed to have a life of its own and continuously condensed, forming a blood-red snake with dozens of eyes. It gave off an incredibly destructive power, and everything in its surroundings collapsed. Boom! Zhao Fu pointed the Emperor-killing sword towards the sky, and a blood-red sword light shot into the sky. A black and blood-red magic formation appeared in the sky, and heaven and earth power continuously gathered as boundless black and blood-red lights spread out from the magic formation. A heaven-piercing sword intent instantly descended, inundating everything. Under that sword intent, everything in the world turned into nothingness, unable to resist at all. Bai Shengjun gathered all of the 5 elements' destruction power at a single point, and that point gave off a brilliant light. The entire 5 elements world's power seemed to weaken, and Bai Shengjun pointed with his finger. Boom! A 5-colored ray of light shot out incredibly quickly and tore through the heavens and earth, seeming to destroy the heavens and earth. Boom! The 10,000-meter-tall blood-red giant also threw out its snake-like spear. The spear gave off an incredibly destructive power as it shot out like a blood-red ray of light. Explosions sounded out as the spear tore through space. Facing the 2 incoming attacks, Zhao Fu's expression did not change. The black and blood-red magic formation in the sky slowly started to spin as an aura of annihilation flowed out. Zhao Fu's sword descended. Boom! 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 Heaven-shaking sounds tore through the sky as the black and blood-red magic formation blasted down tens of thousands of meter-long blood-red sword lights, seeming to split the heavens and earth into pieces. Space seemed to shatter like a mirror, and as the sword lights landed on the ground, the terrifying power caused the ground to shatter. Bang! A heaven-shaking explosion sounded out, and it was as if the world was going to split apart. The three attacks collided together, creating a terrifying explosion. Everything within 100 kilometers was instantly turned into nothingness, and terrifying shock waves spread out like a bolt of lightning. Chapter 1259. Within a ravine, Zhao Fu coughed up a large mouthful of blood and got up from the ground with great difficulty. A black figure suddenly leapt at him from the side, and Zhao Fu grabbed with his hand, grabbing that person's throat. He found that Syndra was looking at him with a wronged expression. Syndra had only dared to come out after seeing that there had been no movement for a long time. Because she had a master contract with Zhao Fu, she knew that Zhao Fu was fine. She had wanted to directly escape, but Bai Shengjun had locked on her, so she could only obediently stay nearby. If she really escaped, Zhao Fu would think that she had betrayed him and would not stop Bai Shengjun. Instead, he would wait for him to kill Syndra before taking the Darkness Origin Stone. "King, you're so strong." Zhao Fu let go, and Syndra smiled as she came over and hugged Zhao Fu's arm. She said. Zhao Fu ignored Syndra's words and asked caringly, "How are those two people?" Syndra shook her head. "I don't know. I was worried about King's safety, so I hurried over. The other two people haven't moved, so they're most likely heavily injured. Perhaps they've been killed by the glorious king." Hearing this, Zhao Fu flew into the sky, and his eyes spun as he searched for those two people. They were mortal enemies, and Zhao Fu definitely would not let them off. He had to kill them. After flying into the sky, the ground was in a mess. There were craters everywhere, and there were also ravines. There were no signs of life, and some places had even formed canyons and collapsed plains. After searching for a while, Zhao Fu found a corpse that looked like rotten wood. It was the corpse of an elderly man, and he was incredibly old and seemed to be on the verge of death. The aura that this corpse gave off was that of a white-haired young man. Zhao Fu had never thought that he would be able to kill that white-haired young man, and he was quite delighted. Now, he would have one less opponent. The golden dragon looked at the corpse and said, "He wasn't killed by you. His death was due to some sort of secret technique backlash, most likely caused by you heavily injuring him. Also, he's a world realm expert. Put his corpse away. He most likely has many good things on him." Zhao Fu smiled. He understood the value of this corpse. Furthermore, there were probably countless treasures in his storage ring. However, Zhao Fu did not make an inventory for the time being. Instead, he continued to search for Bai Shengjun. However, after searching for a while, Zhao Fu found that Zhao Fu had already escaped, and his injuries were most likely quite severe. Zhao Fu felt quite disappointed and could only give up. He found a hidden place and started to treat his injuries. This time, Zhao Fu's injuries were not light. Syndra stood guard at the side. Now that she had witnessed Zhao Fu's true strength, her loyalty to Zhao Fu had skyrocketed. The people in the distance had also been affected by the shockwaves. They had never thought that the three people's final attack would explode out with such terrifying destructive power. It was on the level of destroying the heavens and earth. After this place became deathly silent, everyone understood that the battle had concluded. From the rankings, Zhao Fu still stood at the top, unshakable position. The white-haired young man's name had disappeared. He had most likely left the cosmos' historical remnant. Bai Shengjun's name was still there, but everyone understood that the other two people had lost. Two terrifying geniuses had teamed up, but they had still lost. That Imperial Prince's power was truly terrifying. Of the top 5 geniuses, only the first-ranked person had not fought with that Imperial Prince yet. The other geniuses had all been defeated. Elsewhere, Bai Howren supported the heavily injured Bai Shengjun and quickly ran away. He did not dare to stay for even a moment, as he was afraid that Zhao Fu would attack him. At that moment, Bai Shengjun's expression was quite dispirited, and he said weakly, "Howren, I lost." Not only did I use the technique that Master gave me, but I also teamed up with someone else. In the end, I still lost. Baiharan lightly nodded. His big brother was an undefeatable legend in his heart, and that legend had been shattered by that person. However, Baiharan still believed him and smiled as he said, "Big brother, I'm sure you'll defeat him one day." Seeing that his little brother trusted him so much, Bai Xingjun smiled with some difficulty because he knew just how difficult it would be. Within a grand palace, Zhang Mingyue furiously rushed back to the Zhang Empire's palace and yelled to the guards, "Hurry and report to my imperial father that someone has insulted the Zhang Empire. Tell him to send a few Emperor Heaven Realm experts over." After returning to the Zhang Empire, Zhang Mingyue thought about the humiliation that Zhao Fu had given him and planned to take a few Emperor Heaven Realm experts to sweep through the outer domains. The most powerful people in the outer domains were only World Realm experts, and with a few Emperor Heaven Realm experts, they would be able to sweep through the outer domains. They would be able to kill whoever they wanted and would be able to kill whoever they wanted. They would be able to do as they pleased. This was the strength of an empire. The guards naturally disagreed with Zhang Mingyue's words and carefully reported this to the higher-ups. Within the palace, a scholarly-looking middle-aged man was talking to a few young men with extraordinary bearings. Those young men gave off dense emperor's auras, and their auras were many times stronger than Zhang Mingyue's. They were all imperial princes of the Zhang Empire. The guards went up and reported what Zhang Mingyue had said. One of the young men coldly harumphed. That boy most likely ran into trouble everywhere and was taught a lesson, so he ran back to call for help. He's truly a disgrace to the Zhang Empire. Another person said condescendingly, apart from playing around, he's just playing around. Even though we're all imperial princes, he's just trash who doesn't know how to improve. It's better to just kick such a person out of the empire. A handsome-looking young man frowned and said, "Don't say that. After all, he's our sixth brother." Hearing this young man's words, no one said anything else. It was evident that this young man's prestige in the Zhang Empire was quite high. The scholarly-looking middle-aged man gave a praising smile as he looked at the young man and said, "Moonless, go and see what's going on. Sixth brother should also be taught a lesson. However, no matter what reason that person has for bullying the Zhang Empire's imperial princes, that person must die. The empire's dignity cannot be challenged." The handsome-looking young man, who was Zhang Wuyue, cupped his hands and left the palace before coming to Zhang Mingyue's room. Seeing Zhang Wuyue arrive, Zhang Mingyue felt quite happy because out of all of his brothers, Zhang Wuyue was the closest to him. "Big brother, why are you here? Also, did Imperial Father agree to give me an Emperor Heaven Realm expert?" Zhang Wuyue smiled as he said, "How could Emperor Heaven Realm experts be given to you so easily? Even though there are many of them in the Heaven Domain, all of them are incredibly precious people. Their cultivations are the strongest in the inner domains." Chapter 1260. Zhang Mingyue happily laughed as he said, "Thank you, big brother. In actuality, I know my limits and won't offend people with too high of a status. This time, I went to the outer domain and was taught a lesson by a fake. I'm so angry. That fake was actually so powerful." "That's right. Fake?" Zhang Wuyue asked with some interest. Following this, Zhang Mingyue told Zhang Mingyue everything that had happened, including how he had met Zhao Fu and how he had fought. Zhang Wuyue's expression became serious as he asked, "You said that that person's emperor's aura was not only stronger than yours, but it was also many times purer than yours? Without the blessing of an empire?" Zhang Mingyue nodded and said, "I'm quite curious as well. How could that fake have such a pure, sovereign bloodline?" Zhang Mingyue explained, "As imperial princes, our sovereign bloodlines are the purest. The only ones purer than ours are early-stage emperor bloodlines." Zhang Mingyue cried out in shock, "No way. How could that person have an early-stage emperor bloodline? He can't have an empire, or else I would have died long ago. That's what I find strange. Even if ordinary people were lucky enough to obtain a sovereign bloodline, that sovereign bloodline would not be pure and would only be a mixed bloodline. However, that person had an early-stage sovereign bloodline, Zhang Weiyue said. Zhang Mingyue grumbled. What should we do then? That person dared to injure me and treat me with such a contemptuous attitude. If Big Brother doesn't kill him, I won't be able to vent my anger. Zhang Weiyue looked at him and said seriously, All right, I will deal with this matter. Also, that person is not simple. You must treat him with caution. Hearing this, Zhang Mingyue smiled in relief. He could already imagine how Zhao Fu would die. Subsequently, Zhang Weiyue returned to the palace. Before, no one paid much attention to this matter, but after Zhang Weiyue told everyone about it, everyone asked in shock, Early-stage Emperor bloodline? Zhang Weiyue nodded seriously. Based on what Six Brothers said, that person most likely has an early-stage Emperor bloodline, and that Emperor bloodline is much stronger than the Zhang Empire's Emperor bloodline. Six Brothers' defeat was not unjust. This isn't a small matter. We should send people to capture that person and interrogate him to find out why he has an early-stage Emperor bloodline, someone said coldly. Zhang Weiyue shook his head. I'm afraid it will be a bit difficult. Sixth Brother met that person in the Outer Realms ruins. It will be very difficult to find that person now. The scholarly-looking middle-aged man looked quite serious and felt a trace of a bad premonition. He said, Use our Empire's secret technique to divine that person's location. If we can find out how he obtained an early-stage Emperor bloodline, it might be of great help to the Zhang Empire. Moreover, this person is quite troublesome, so it's best to get rid of him as soon as possible. When everyone heard his words, they did not expect the middle-aged man to take this matter so seriously. He was actually going to use the Empire's secret technique. This was also unexpected. One person said, Father, are you sure? Is there a need to pay so much attention to it? The scholarly middle-aged man replied seriously, And my instincts tell me that we have to take this matter seriously. Following this, on a tall altar, an elder dressed like a priest stood at the center of a magic formation. Zhang Mingyue was called over. He had never thought that the Empire would take this matter so seriously, and he felt quite delighted. Zhao Fu was definitely going to die. A blood-stained piece of clothing was handed to the priest. It was Zhao Fu's blood. Holding the piece of clothing, the priest started to recite an ancient story. The temperature in the surroundings suddenly rose as an eerie, ghostly qi flowed out of the altar. Countless ghosts appeared, swirling around the priest like a vortex. Gradually, more and more yin qi appeared, and it had already spread 10,000 meters away. There were tens of thousands of ghosts around the priest, giving off a shocking aura. Boom! The priest threw the blood-stained piece of clothing into the air, and the tens of thousands of ghosts around the priest instantly swarmed towards the blood-stained piece of clothing. A powerful aura exploded out, and countless rays of gray light shot out. A massive image appeared in the sky. It was a ghost emperor with a pale face and a savage appearance. It was wearing gray dragon robes and had a gray dragon crown on its head. There was a gray dragon sword at its waist, and it gave off a cold and eerie aura. The Zhang Empire had a secret technique called Ghost Emperor Tracking. It summoned the image of a ghost emperor and had it enter the boundless heavens' secrets to search for the whereabouts of the person it wanted to find. After the ghost emperor image appeared, the priest bowed to the ghost emperor and said, This old man wants to find this person. Please tell me, ghost emperor. Hearing this, the ghost emperor closed its eyes and its consciousness entered the boundless heavens' secrets. It followed the aura of that blood and quickly found the person. However, what it saw was a sea of mist condensed from deathly aura. The sea of mist sensed the ghost emperor's approach and gave off a massive wave of deathly aura as it flooded towards the ghost emperor. The ghost emperor's expression fell, and it quickly retreated. However, the wave of deathly aura was incredibly ferocious, and the ghost emperor's consciousness was instantly inundated. On the altar, the ghost emperor suddenly opened its eyes, and a wave of deathly aura exploded out from its body, causing the ghost emperor to instantly shatter into countless pieces. The deathly aura that flowed out from the Ghost Emperor's body was like a ferocious monster that flew out in all directions. The Stage 5 and Stage 6 soldiers were unable to resist at all, and their life force was devoured by the deathly aura. Boom! 3 rays of light suddenly descended from the sky, blood red, golden, and gray. The sky was instantly dyed 3 colors, and the 3 rays of light gave off unimaginable heaven and earth power as they ferociously slammed against the priest's body. The priest was sent flying like an ant and heavily crashed to the ground. He coughed up a large mouthful of blood, and many of his bones were broken. This sudden change caused everyone watching to look incredibly shocked. The Ghost Emperor tracing was one of the Zong Empire's most powerful secret techniques, and because it relied on the Ghost Emperor, it was not something that ordinary secret techniques could compare to. However, it was evident that the secret technique had failed, and the priest had suffered a terrifying backlash from Heaven's secrets. From the intensity of the backlash, it was possible that he had divined someone who had been blessed by Heaven's secrets. The deathly aura continued to ferociously spread, and the scholarly-looking middle-aged man coldly harumphed and grabbed out with his hand. A massive wave of Emperor's power that could seal the heavens and earth flowed out, sealing the deathly aura. However, in the next moment, the scholarly-looking middle-aged man's expression fell because he found that the deathly aura seemed to specifically counter Emperor's power. The Emperor's power that sealed the deathly aura was quickly devoured by the deathly aura, causing it to become even more ferocious. It madly rushed towards the people in the surroundings, especially those with sovereign bloodlines. Seeing this scene, and sensing how terrifying the deathly aura was, the scholarly-looking middle-aged man could not help but cry out, "Emperor Killer Curse!" Boom! Chapter 1261. However, after attacking, he could not help but stop as massive waves crashed in his heart. No matter how he thought about it, he would never have thought that something as terrifying as the Emperor Killer Curse would be drawn out. Just who was that person? Someone had actually used Emperor Killer to kill him. Moreover, from the power of the Emperor Killer Curse, it was definitely done by a higher being. Moreover, that person had been hit by the Emperor Killer Curse and had not died. That person is definitely not simple. In fact, he is extremely terrifying. The scholarly middle-aged man was not the only one who thought that way. Seeing the result, everyone else understood how terrifying that person was. Otherwise, there would not be such a terrifying result. Father, Zhang Mingwei started to feel nervous. He had wanted to use this to find Zhao Fu and then think of all sorts of ways to torture him to vent his anger. However, he had evidently caused trouble. The scholarly middle-aged man coldly harumphed and did not even look at Zhang Mingwei as he said to the others, "This matter is classified as the Zong Empire's top secret and cannot be leaked. Also, invite people from the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion to divine that person's location and do everything possible to obtain information about that person." Yes, everyone solemnly obeyed. Following this, everyone obeyed. Some went to find out about that person, while others went to find people from the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion, wanting to ask them to divine where that person was. The Heaven Secrets Pavilion was ranked number 1 in the Heaven domain when it came to using Heaven Secrets. However, the people who went to the Heavenly Mysteries Pavilion returned in a short while. They said that the Heavenly Mysteries Pavilion had sensed that person's aura and had looked horrified, refusing the Zong Empire's request. The Zong Empire was a true empire, and even within the Heaven domain, it was a top-tier faction. However, the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion did not give them any face, risking offending the Zong Empire to not divine that person's location. When news of this spread, everyone's expressions became somewhat unsightly. Clearly, that person was truly terrifying. The people of the Pavilion of Heavenly Mysteries had long since known of that person's existence. The elegant middle-aged man felt a headache coming on. His intuition didn't lie to him. If it wasn't for this, he would have treated it as a small matter. Now, it had become a big problem. The person in charge of searching for that person also came back, and as everyone expected, there was no information found. "Father, what should we do now?" Zhang Weiyue looked at the scholarly middle-aged man and asked. The scholarly middle-aged man sighed. "Right now, we can only search for that person's information and whereabouts. If he is of value to us, we could pay a price to resolve this grudge. If not, then we can kill him by any means necessary. That person is far too dangerous." Hearing this, everyone nodded. With the Emperor Killer curse, the higher being, the early stage Emperor bloodline, and the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion's abnormal behavior, that person was worthy of their attention. In the end, Zhang Mingyue was temporarily grounded. Zhang Mingyue let out a sigh of relief because he did not receive any actual punishment. However, he had never thought that the fake would have such a great background. Naturally, Zhao Fu did not know about this. After recovering from his injuries, he opened a white-haired old man's storage ring with anticipation. Perhaps the white-haired old man wouldn't have died at his peak. After being injured by Zhao Fu, he might have been able to escape. However, he was unlucky. The backlash from the secret technique he used ended up taking his life. As the second-rank person, his gains were quite shocking. He was like a treasure trove with all sorts of precious treasures. Zhao Fu also found some information and was shocked to find out that the white-haired old man was not only a world realm expert, but also a king of a royal kingdom. He had never thought that he would be able to kill a world realm expert and a king of a royal kingdom so easily. Luckily, Zhao Fu could not use his nation armament, and the white-haired old man's cultivation was restricted, or else Zhao Fu would have been viciously beaten up by him. Looking at the treasures in the storage ring, Zhao Fu could not help but grin. Following this, Zhao Fu found a Tai Chi stone. This Tai Chi stone was round and had a black and white Tai Chi symbol on it. It was as big as a plate and seemed to be made of ordinary rock. However, it was quite heavy and gave off an intense yin and yang aura. The Tai Chi stone was in a corner, but the Sun Devil mark and Moon Devil mark on Zhao Fu's chest gave off intense light and reacted intensely to the Tai Chi stone. Apart from finding that the Sun Devil mark and Moon Devil mark could increase one's cultivation speed during the day and night, Zhao Fu did not find any other uses for them. However, Zhao Fu felt that he could give the Tai Chi stone to the Sun Devil mark and Moon Devil mark. After all, if they wanted to obtain some sort of power, Zhao Fu would benefit the most. As such, Zhao Fu took out the Tai Chi stone and placed it on his chest. The Sun Devil mark and Moon Devil mark on his chest gave off searing sunlight and gentle moonlight, covering the Tai Chi stone. Following this, the Tai Chi stone automatically fused into Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu did not know where the Tai Chi stone was, and he could not find it even after checking his body. It was most likely hidden within the Sun Devil mark and Moon Devil mark. Finally, Zhao Fu started to examine his body and found that there was no reaction at all after fusing with the Tai Chi stone. Zhao Fu felt quite disappointed and felt as if he had not fused with the Tai Chi stone at all. King, seeing that Zhao Fu had finished his work, Syndra leaned against Zhao Fu's shoulder and lightly stroked Zhao Fu's chest with her slender arms as she called out flirtatiously. Only then did Zhao Fu think of Syndra, and his disappointment was swept away. It could be said that the battle from before had been to steal her, so Zhao Fu immediately asked about the method to produce a large number of darkness crystals. After hearing the Golden Dragon's method, Zhao Fu grinned. After returning to Qin City, he would be able to produce a large number of darkness crystals, and the difference between Qin City and the outside world would be made up for. Qin City's overall strength would also rise by a level. Zhao Fu and Syndra searched around the 4th level, but did not find anything, so they left the 4th level and headed to the 3rd level. The 3rd level was quite similar to the 4th level, and it was quite dark. However, the Cosmos beasts here were much stronger than those in the 4th level. Zhao Fu's first thought was to find a danger zone. However, after searching for a while, he found a danger zone and found that it had been conquered. When Zhao Fu went there were only ruins. Zhao Fu felt quite disappointed and continued to explore the 3rd level. He found another historical remnant and obtained many gains, and in the end, Zhao Fu decided to head to the 2nd level. Moreover, Zhao Fu had obtained a checkpoint medallion for the second level, which could only be obtained by killing a King-class Darkness Cosmos beast. He also obtained a Darkness Crystal and a Darkness King bloodline. Zhao Fu threw out the medallion, which turned into a black vortex and appeared in front of him. Zhao Fu and Syndra walked in. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.